Welcome to This Is Not Legal Advice. I am your host, TINLA, and today we are doing a pick a card reading in honor of Saturn coming out of retrograde and Mercury coming out of retrograde. So hooray, we made it through at least two of the cycles here. In honor of that, like I said, I want to do a special pick a card, and it has to do with the energy between you, the viewer, and the person that is coming in for you, or a significant other that is either coming in for you, or already, or you're separated from, depending on how it resonates. But in honor of that, pick a card. We have the Black Tarot, represented by nothing, because what is space if not a whole lot of nothing, or some might say some dark matter? So take this as dark matter or nothing, however you see it. We also have this asteroid-esque rock, and underneath it we have our Astromatrix Tarot. We have this beautiful little blue star here, and that is the Cosmic Wisdom Tarot, along with these oracles and this honkin' big oracle I couldn't fit in the frame. It is going to be a great reading. I know it. I know all three of these piles are going to be amazing. Take whichever one resonates with you. We're going to look at, your energy or your person's energy, depending on how it resonates, what's between you, what's coming up, what the advice is, and then we're going to do the tarot to clarify some of these things. They are all amazing and wonderful in their own ways. I do want to tell you that I will shuffle the actual tarot on deck and go through the tarot decks as we go through things. But what I do is, before we proceed, I always pick the cards for the oracles ahead of time to save time, but it's random in the sense of, like, I'm shuffling them. I'm just kind of putting them out as spirit directs, and I don't look at them till I pick them all, and then I go through and I interpret them ahead of time. I research them. I try to get some additional information to add to the reading that helps me clarify maybe who person A is and person B is, and what the nature of the relationship is between the two of you. So I do that ahead of time, again, to save time, but I'm not like selecting the cards with intention of I'm looking at it and saying, oh, this makes sense. Like, I don't do that. It's all very not random, but it's guided by the universe, and it is just what comes out. So I think, again, I have, spoiler alert, I've seen it, I know it, I did this whole reading. It's going to be amazing. You're going to love it. And I just know it's going to speak to you. So hopefully one of these piles speaks to you. I will mark them in the description in terms of timestamps. And let's go ahead and get started with pile one. Thank you for joining me. Love you. Bye. If you chose pile one and the nothing, along with our Black Tarot, this is your reading. So as I indicated in the intro, I'm going to go ahead and explain this to you. Although you probably already know, if I know my viewers. Okay, so when I was looking for different items, little totems to show everybody for the different piles, I was going through it and seeing what I had available to me, and I was at a loss, honestly. Like, what is the third thing that I have? What is number three? And I just couldn't fathom it. It occurred to me as I was looking at the Black Tarot over here that what the vast majority of space is, well, I would say emptiness, but it could also be dark matter. So it occurred to me that perhaps your totem pile one is, in fact, nothing. So I appreciate that about you. I hope you see the meta value of that. And this, my dears, is going to be your pile. So on the left-hand side, or what I perceive as the left-hand side, your this side, whatever this may be, we are going to look at person A. Ideally, it's going to be you, beautiful viewer. Here at This Is Not Legal Advice, we are going to be looking at your energy toward the connection, and some other things there. We'll go through it as we go through it. And on this side, it's going to be pile B, which ideally is the person on your mind, the person you may not have met, the person that is really in the universe's consciousness collectively for you at this point. And in the middle, if you've met this person, of course, this is all very relative. This is the energy that you have. Now, my intention was to, toward one another. Now, my intention was to just draw one card for here, but because, why not? The universe is going to universe. We ended up with two cards. So I'm going to go ahead and lay those out, and we will go through things. But before we do that, let us clear the air. Mind your ears. 1, 2, 3. And of course, after we are done with our oracle cards here, we will get some tarot and some channeled messages to see what it is your people are talking about here. Now, I did just pour myself a drink of not hot coffee. So go ahead and pour your drink, strap in with a cup of tea, cup of coffee, cup of whatever you have a thing in mind for, and let's get started. So if you recognize your energy in either one of these piles, this is your reading. If not, go ahead and go to either pile 2 or pile 3 or somewhere else entirely, but I do hope you stay with me here at This Is Not Legal Advice. Again, I am your host, TINLA. So let us talk about your your general energy. Ideally, this is your side, but it may not be. We have the crone, number 13, and your energy toward this connection is the judge. Feeling a little judgy over here. We have your energy then, let's look at how you perceive this relationship, or this person, how you perceive person B, this person over here. Okay, no. We have the Gulan, not the Gulan Rouge, I think that's a little bit different, I'm not completely sure, and the Jackalope. So let's go ahead and move some of these out of the way so you can see the Gulan and the Jackalope. All right. Underneath that, we're going to have the energy towards the relationship, if any, that you have with this person. And we have Virgo and advice from spirit as to this connection. We are looking at balanced emotions. So far, if this sounds like you, we are on the right track. It may not. It may sound like the person in your mind if you've met them. If not, again, maybe this is not your pile. Let's check your other person or you if this is your side. All right, we have your general or your person's general energy if this is your person, the mirror, and their energy towards this connection is the thread. How they see you at this point, pile 1, my beautiful pile 1 folk. We have the chimera over here. I need to scooch some of these bad boys over. The chimera, and then we have the mermaid. Underneath that, we're again once again going to see how this person sees this person in terms of the energy towards that person. And we have Jupiter, Big Daddy up in here, very king of wands, very king of pentacles, very just on it, powerful. And the advice from spirit is learn the truth. Now, again, hopefully this energy over here sounds like you or your person, but stick around where you can get more of the details, and maybe that will clarify for you if this is in fact your person or you, or both. And of course, you could see yourself on both sides a little bit, which would indicate there's some mirroring going on, and mirroring, of course, is very significant in terms of a twin flame journey or a divine counterpart, however you want to see it, journey. So we're going to go ahead and look at, finally, the energy between the two of you right now. We have, number 38, first quarter. Not second, first quarter. Second down, 5 yards to go. Let's roll. All right, sorry. And then we have the Mercury card. So this is focus, and this is communication. So far, so good. If so, right place. Let's go ahead and get started on talking about this. With respect to the energy of our pile A person, which ideally, again, would be you, but not necessarily, we have the crone, number 13. Now, first and foremost, again, if you're familiar with tarot, number 13 is the death card, intrinsically Scorpio energy. You may be a Scorpio, you may not be. It is irrelevant. It is just something to consider. If you have it in your chart, this may be another indicator that this is for you. 3 and 1, of course, is also 4, which is Emperor energy. So bottom line is this person is thebomb.com. Okay. Now, also this person is wise, is learned, is somebody who's seen all the things, done all the stuff. It's kind of over it, but also intuitive. And so, as you'll see as we go through this, pile 1, person A, is somebody who very much feels like, because they've seen so many things in the past, they feel like they kind of know where this is going. And because they're very intuitive and they've relied on that intuition a great deal throughout their lives to get by, to survive, they trust it to a point of stubbornness, and perhaps to a degree an unwillingness to see the other person's position or to judge the other person's position harshly. So, you may be somebody who, in this case, we have the crone, but it says crone, crow. See what I did there? Crone. The W is not there, but it's implied. So you have a crow here, very much into the shiny, sparkly things. We have a coin that the crone is sitting on here, holding on to. But see, while it's holding on to its coin and its knowledge and its wisdom, I feel like this hand is the universe saying, wait a minute, I'm going to pull you up out of this knowledge, out of this intuition, and shake you up a little bit. Maybe get some fresh energy in there. So that is your energy at present. Now, how this person, and I'm assuming it's you, but it may not be, person A sees the person on the other side. We have this gulan, which I never heard of. I heard of goulash, but not gulan. This is a really chubby puppy. Chubby puppy. Look how cute. But also bones, so don't mess around. This is you view this person as being almost like, I don't say gluttonous full on, but somebody who is really living high on the hog, really enjoying a great deal of things that to some degree you wonder, how hard did they really work for this? Like, do they deserve it? Are they really worth it? I mean, I have come out of so much in my life. I have experienced so many things in my life, and I am finally here. And first of all, don't tell me I'm wrong. You don't know me. Okay. But on top of it, you got this person that I'm viewing, who is my some kind of divine counterpart, whatever that may mean, okay, as you're seeing it, person A. And look at them with that S-word eating grin on its puppy dog face. It is so self-satisfied. It thinks it knows so much about everything. But you know what? I don't think so. Okay. You got an energy of, like, I don't want to say superiority, but energy of, I've worked hard to get where I've gotten. And I feel like this person over here really hasn't done that as much. At least that's your perception of them. I'm not saying it's an accurate perception, but it is your perception of them at this time. You're also seeing them as this jackalope, all right, which of course makes me think of like that TV show from MTV, the Jackass show, which is, chock-a-block full of nonsense and chicanery. But this is somebody who is truly, you're seeing them as across the spectrum, the rainbow of things, all across the board, whether it's work, personal, whatever. You view them as just not taking it seriously. You're like, look, like strap in. Okay, very Virgo, by the way, or Earth sign on the whole. You don't have to be a Virgo, but it's a very Earth sign energy. You're just like, look, I am a stable, grounded person. I am just doing what I got to do. I'm strapping in. I am gonna do this thing, get the stuff, woo. And look at you over here. You're like, you look like you're enjoying everything. You're just dorking around and just having a grand old time, laughing it up, yucking it up. And I'm over here just, pedal to the metal, nose to the grindstone, other idioms as well. You are just a little bit frustrated with this person because it's like, if I can have my stuff together so well, why can't you just get love together, sir, ma'am, whoever you may be, non-binary individual? Why can't you get it together? Because I have it together and you're over here just like, la-di-da, okay, over here, like, la-di-da, doo-doo, whatever, okay, la-la-la-la-la. And I think you're frustrated with this person a little bit because maybe they've disappointed you in the past. I feel like this is somebody you have met already, even if it was only in a casual fashion, somebody you've interacted with at a business level or in a very nonchalant way, something where you would be like, oh, I can't believe like this person would be the person for me. That's ridiculous. How dare you even say that, TINLA? I'm not going to like your video. I'm not going to subscribe. Whatever. You don't know me. Listen, please do like and subscribe. Not the point. My point is, you are very much confident. I don't mean to paint you as a negative person or whoever person A is as a negative person. You're not negative. I just feel like you've been through it. You've seen some things. You've seen some stuff. You are very stable with this Pentacles energy. You're very stable in who you are. You know deep down who you are. You are used to relying on yourself and not being able to depend on anybody else without feeling like you're giving up your power. I feel like you've never met somebody in your life, or if you have, they haven't been with you, who can really provide you the support and the love that you need, where you can depend on them and know that that person is going to come through for you. I feel like at some level, you have perpetually been disappointed by various people across the span of your life. And that could be everybody from family members, friends, to like lovers, whoever it may be. I feel like there's a very deep sense of like, yes, you're independent. Yes, you focus on yourself. Yes, you are surviving and what have you. But you're kind of looking off in the distance like, wouldn't it be nice? Wouldn't it be nice to have somebody for once take care of me where I don't feel like I'm going to get burned or hurt or have, you know, I don't want to say expectations because I feel like at this point in your life, you don't have any expectations. You've given that up, that ghost up a long time ago. Okay. You have gotten to a point where you're like, I don't even, whatever. Okay. I'm not even expecting anything of you. If you happen to do all that, great, but I still don't trust it. And rightly so. Maybe you've been through some things. Maybe you've just seen a whole lot of awful, monstrous things in your life. And for that, I am sorry. And I want to give you a hug because I feel like what you have going on here is a lot of energy of like a trauma response of hyper independence, and really just being self-dependent and self-assured to a degree that you almost don't want to hear what other people have to say to you. You know, people may say something to you like, well, have you considered this way? And of course you have, duh, all right? But also, you know, what if we look at it this way? What if you just like let it go? What if you lighten up? What if you just calm down? Which, by the way, never say to anybody, nobody I have ever met in my life is like, oh, I'm so glad they told me to calm down. I feel so calm now. Don't do that. Okay. That is not who you are. In fact, I think you might fight the urge very strongly to smack somebody in the face who told you to calm down. That would be, I think, really offensive to you. But you're seeing this person and they just look to you from the outside as somebody who's just, I'm hearing like frat boy, sorority girl, like whatever gender person, party person. Okay. You're looking at them like, ha, look, I'm over here killing it and working my ass off. And who are you? Like how are you in this jackalope energy and just eating it up and having a grand old time? Okay, while I'm having to stand in my truth, and I think there's a slight like a hint of bitterness to it, a little bit of a wall coming up. So far, that's who I'm seeing my person A as, which may or may not be you, viewer, maybe the person you're thinking about, or who is on your horizon. On the other side, let's talk about how your person is truly. And I think this might surprise you given your perspective if you are person A. So we have here the mirror. And the first thing I thought when I saw this card um, was that mirror in Superman. I think it's the first one. It might be the second. I'm so sorry. It's been a very long time since I've seen it. But it's the mirror where the three like criminal people from Kryptonite are trapped in the mirror and they spiral out into space, right? Because that's their prison. I'm seeing your person as somebody who, in a sense, like Narcissus, I'm not saying they're narcissistic. I'm not saying that at all in terms of like psychologically, because I am not a psychologist and this is not legal advice. But what I'm seeing is in the traditional mythological way, very much like Narcissus in the sense they are trapped so deeply in a reflection upon themselves that they're almost again stuck in there, trapped in there. That is their energy of like, how can I be better? How can I do this? How can I show myself to the world? Almost like a reflection energy, which you'll see cross referenced here in a second. But this person, contrary to what you may think, they're reflecting back to the world what this person thinks the world wants to see. What is that? There's like I don't know, some kind of song like when everybody is happy, you be happy too. I don't know. But that's how I think they are, is they're very much introspective and trying to understand almost, I don't want to say this way, but like what's wrong with me to the point that they are obsessed with it. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with them, but they may see themselves that way. I'm also feeling like this is somebody who may have like an obsession with their physical body in terms of, maybe they are really, there's somebody who has like a lot of energy of maybe like some kind of disorder of the consumption sort, and not consumption like TV, but consumption like blah, 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 blah. Okay, like maybe they're doing that or not doing that, whatever the case may be. Maybe they are somebody who works out to excess because they feel like if I don't look a certain way, I won't be accepted by society. But they're on this like constant journey of self-improvement. What I find to be interesting is so are you. You are also on that journey of self-improvement where you have looked over the course of things that have worked or not worked. And by you, I mean person A. I'm assuming it's you. It may not be. I apologize. I'm going to have to keep saying that because I'm getting confused. You, them, A, B. Okay, whatever. I'm sorry. Point is, this person right here, okay, this crone, okay, this person has introspected and viewed in the mirror themselves or their actions and said, okay, let's just let's make it happen. Let's make it better. Let's like fix it. What can we do different next time? Let's improve the situation going forward. And this mirror person, though, instead of like taking some of that deep introspective like action, they're almost stuck. When I see this moon, I'm thinking like there's something hidden, there's something mysterious, there's a lot of emotion being trapped in that mirror, where instead of like person A, where they're just acting very, very wandsy, very fiery, this person is more watery, more really just consumed and absorbed with the thought of how can I make myself better. But it's like in the meantime, they're putting on this front of reflecting back, making it look like everything is fine. This is the person where inside there's turmoil, but on the surface it's smooth. It's like the duck on water, right? Underneath all the ducky legs, you're like, ah, okay. But on the surface, the duck is like smooth, right? That's how this person is. They're reflecting back to everybody around them what they think needs to be seen. And I think perhaps that's why you're seeing them and perceiving them, which may be incorrect. I'm sorry to say, you folk on this part A part, you may be incorrect in your assumption that everything's great and cool and fine and so easy breezy, beautiful for this person. You may perceive them as just having this great time, this great life, but under the surface, the duck legs are kicking around like nuts. And so to some degree, it's like you both understand each other in a very unique and different way. And perhaps what is meant to be here is you, person A, or whoever person A is, could, in an interesting way, reflect back what this person B needs to see, which is it's not just about looking internally, it's about how you externalize on both sides, right? You can come to that balance, that, that black and white, white and black, whatever, red and green, pick your colors. But you can balance that by you learning to let go, or person A learning to let go a little bit and let the good times roll, if you will, and just be light, be airy a little bit, be not just about the doing and all that, but like also introspecting in a way that isn't so fixed, that isn't so stuck in a way of like, this is what I've done, this is what I learned works, and I'm going to keep doing that. And this person, instead of being trapped in this persistent cycle of how can I improve, how can I be better, what's all this going on under here, while on the surface not really expressing those things, can maybe let some of those energies come out. But what I want to talk about is how also that person sees you, or person A, because we have two different things, very similar themes here. We have the chimera and we have the mermaid. Now, while we have fire and water here, I think that's very expressive of the dichotomy. This person, I think, strangely enough, you're seeing the surface, or person A is seeing the surface of person B. Person B is actually seeing more of the hidden truth behind person A. They're seeing somebody who's complex, who is not somebody who is easy to classify or categorize, someone who is a beautiful mix of that fiery passion energy, but also that intuition, that love, that emotion, really just embracing that. Can be fierce, but can be loving. Isn't just one thing, is, here three things and here two things. There's so many facets of you. And I think that one of the beautiful things about person B is person A is they're seeing them in a very different way than I think person A is used to being seen. I think person A is used to being seen as just a resource for other people. The person who ends up in a group project and then does the whole project because they don't trust anybody else to do it right. Everybody else sucks. Okay. Like, but this person here, because they're so introspective normally, they very much, I think, see you or person A in a way where you have not been seen before. And to be honest with you, I think that's a little scary to you, and it's easier for you to write them off as a joker and a clown than to accept the vulnerability that comes with somebody seeing you for the complex, beautiful creature that you are. And again, I just think that's really gorgeous energy. Is, you know, this person is truly seeing you for you, not to diminish you because you're seeing them as what's on the surface, because they have issues with expressing their own feelings on the surface. But it's like this weird, not weird, but like one of you sees one this way, one sees the other this way, and in the middle, you know, you can really bring something beautiful to one another's lives. So a very yin and yang energy, very, very balancing, very counterpart, whatever, pick your noun or adjective or what have you to name it or describe it. Okay, so now we have a drink of not coffee. All right, let's talk about what the energy towards the relationship is on both sides. And since we're over here, we'll continue over here, we'll move this way. So you have Jupiter on this side. Now, the first thing I always think about with Jupiter is just how tremendously large Jupiter is here. Jupiter is so large that during the formation of the solar system, had the particles that were gathering together not actually formed our sun, this would have been the sun. But because the sun formed faster and was able to draw more particles in, more debris in, more energy, all those things in faster than Jupiter did, it became that center of the solar system. And Jupiter basically kind of took a knee on that one and said, okay, I'll just be the biggest, bombest planet here otherwise. Now, I also think about Jupiter being, you know, in traditional mythology, the king here. We have, you know, he's married to Juno, you know, depending on whether you're going with Greek or Roman. Either way, he's the king of all of the gods. And again, please, this is non-gendered. I'm just using the terms that were used as they were then, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Calm down. See what I did there? Calm down. Anyway, it's a joke. It's a joke. Love you. Okay. But, you know, Jupiter is traditionally was a philanderer, was somebody who was out there just sowing his wild oats, okay, while his wife, who was the goddess of marriage and commitment, was dedicated and loyal, and she took her vengeance on all manner of people. And so it could be this person's nature is at least to appear as someone who is out there, is partying, is meeting all kinds of different people, is not taking this particular commitment seriously. I will tell you, though, that despite all of Jupiter's ways, he always came home to Juno. Not to say that cheating is okay, it's not. I mean, it could be you're in, you know, that you and this person would be in some kind of open relationship, and I'm not, it's possible, anything's possible. But in this case, I'm seeing somebody who is committed to you despite perhaps their baser urges to actually embody the party person that you see them as. That may be sort of their natural way, but I don't think they want to be this way. I think that's why all the introspection is here. I think once it like clicks for them and they see that that's not really who they are, they will shift that dramatically. And I'm not saying they're even out there partying right now. You may see them as partying, but they may not be. I think they're very much in an internal struggle of, is this who I really am? And there's also a sense, as I was saying earlier about Jupiter almost being the sun, but like not quite, okay? There's almost this energy of second best. Like, if I could just be a little bit better, if I could just be a little bit different, maybe this person would want me. Maybe if I try a little harder, I laugh a little louder, I do something more dramatic, person A will pay attention to me and won't focus so much on the sun. I think from their perspective, they view themselves as less than you. And you can see over here, or person A can see Virgo. I mean, it's a whole constellation, it's multiple stars. This is a planet, which, while the biggest planet in our solar system, is still not a star. And well, it never will be, probably. I mean, there's always like a tiny chance anything's possible, but it sees him or herself as not top tier, like just below top tier. Like they're always a little bit insecure about how do I really come off. And keep in mind, of course, Jupiter has like a ton of moons here. And this, it could be that there are a lot of people in your person's or person A's, view of person B. That person B has a lot of people in the periph, a lot of people hovering around. Like if this is a woman, maybe there's a lot of menfolk or other people that are interested in her or the person, just kind of circling around like sharks, interested in getting in there. Or it could be the other way. I mean, it could be both of you are that way. They're both very attractive people to where you are magnetic and bring in with your gravitational pull just people, and you can't help that. Particularly person B, it's like this person, like maybe you as or whoever person A is doesn't see so much of it. So like the moons aren't obvious, it's not a moon, it's a space station kind of thing. But Jupiter, I think, is aware, like I don't mean to like draw these people, but it's like the magnetic pull is so strong that this person can't help but like attract admirers in a sense. Oh, look at that. We have a helicopter, which is usually a medevac. So maybe this person's like, ah, the vapors. I don't know. Don't say that about me. Anyway, but their energy toward the relationship is like, look, they want to pull you in, or be, person B wants to pull person A in with that energy, with that gravitational pull. But they almost feel like they're not strong enough to do it. And it comes in again to that self-doubt energy we talked about earlier. For you, or person A, whoever that is, you've got Virgo, this constellation here. And Virgo, again, not saying you have to be Virgo, but it's very much this, first of all, it looks very Aurora Borealian. Anyway, like an Aurora Borealis. And that's that magnetic energy coming down from the sun and other, entities in the universe that makes it look so beautiful in the northern hemisphere or in the extreme southern hemisphere. And so I think that, again, you have a magnetic pole, or person A has a magnetic pole as well, but it's slightly different than this magnetic pole. Like your magnetism is a generalized, like everybody around you is like, wow, look at this person. Like they are really like on it. They got it going on. Whereas Jupiter may be pulling in specific individuals. Like I'm seeing here an energy of intimidation. Like people are admiring you from afar, admiring your work product, admiring your go-getterism nature, and they are like, oh, they're pouring energy on you, but from afar, which unfortunately makes you feel kind of lonely, kind of sad. But, again, on the other side, you have Jupiter that's more directly pulling in specific individuals by its gravitational pull. And I'm being told that for some people, this may mean like, because again, Virgo is like the virgin, is that kind of energy. You may be a virgin, you may be relatively inexperienced from a smegdual standpoint. And I can't believe I have to say that. What a stupid world we live in, but that's a different story. Come back around later for that. But it's somebody, it's earth energy. And if you've ever met a Virgo person before, or you are a Virgo person, they are people who really like that energy of a Virgo is somebody who has tried it, done it, thought about all the different ways to do it, and they have the best plan, the best way of doing it. And okay, I'll listen to you, but I can't wait for you to see at the end of the day that I'm right. Sorry, no offense to my Virgo friends. I love y'all. My mom's a Virgo. No offense. But that is the energy here. Your energy toward the relationship is very much, or person A, their energy toward the relationship is one of, I see you, okay, as somebody who's just messing around. You're not serious. I'm over here doing the most, holding it down, getting my stuff together. How am I supposed to know I can rely on you? You don't know me. Okay. And this person's like, I don't feel good enough. Like, look at all these flaws I see within myself. Yeah, people might be interested in me, but I don't care about them. I care about this person. But I'm not good enough for them. And look how awesome they are. Look at how multifaceted and interesting and passionate and also sensitive and caring and compassionate this person is. I am not good enough for person A. And this is their perception of this dynamic. And I'm not saying that you, person A, or whoever person A is somebody who views person B as not being good enough. That's how they perceive themselves. You're simply viewing them as somebody who's not going to take them seriously enough to be the kind of sort of emperor energy that this person needs to actually hold them down, to actually be the anchor during the storm for them. And so I think there's a lot of miscommunication, which is interesting because we're coming out of the Mercury retrograde just now, although of course it's a timeless reading, yada yada. Mercury is the planet of communication. Mercury also rules Virgo and is the sign over here. It's kind of a confirmation that what is really needed here is some genuine, deep communication. Is you or person A saying, look, are you serious or what? Are you into me or what? Because from my perspective, it looks like you are just out here playboying this thing, very Jupiter. Okay. And on this side, this person's like, are you kidding me? Like, I think you're the best thing that ever lived. And I'm just not worthy of you. And I think when that happens, there'll be like a moment where you all click and there's just a moment of clarity there. But anyway, I don't want to get too much into that. Let's talk about the judge. The judge. Okay. I'm not going to linger too long on these because we've already gone like, oh my gosh, like 34 minutes and I haven't even gotten to the tarot yet. I'm not sorry, but enjoy. I hope you're enjoying it. And I hope you're resonating with it. I hope it makes some sense to you. If so, drop a like, a comment, a share, a subscribe, all the things in the stuff. But the judge here, number 14, first of all, 14 is, we talked about 13 being an energy of death, which is, of course, that Scorpio energy. And then the judge is temperance, which is 14, which is Sagittarian energy, which is right where we are right now. As I'm filming this, we are in that transition period where we just came out of Scorpio. We're in Sagittarius now. And incidentally, we have this first quarter here, which again, as I'm filming this, we are in the first quarter of the moon. So it's very much telling me that this is a here and now contemporaneous. This is what it is. Now, again, this could be whenever you're seeing it. Now is now. It's not then. It's not what was, not what is. Now is now. So again, judge is, coming. It's not the judgment card, which is number 20, but number 14 is this energy of give, take, balancing things out. So when we talk about this card, we were looking specifically as what your energy or person's A energy is toward this relationship and person's B toward the relationship. And judge, as you might have taken from the whole thing, is you are looking at this from a perspective of what do you really want from me? Are you just another person who wants me to do the bulk of the group project because I'm happy to be best at it and somebody's going to take the lead? Or are you somebody that I can rely on? Are you really going to be tell me you're that somebody is what I'm hearing, that Aaliyah song. Is it Aaliyah? Yeah, I think it's Aaliyah. Anyway, tell me that you're that somebody. Are you got your lobes and all that business? Are you that somebody? And I think, with the prayer hands here, I think in a way, person A is very much hoping and praying and manifesting that this person is indeed, person B is the person who is going to bring that safety, that security into person A's life, instead of being someone who is looking for a handout, looking for a hand up, looking for something from them. Because person A, I think, is used to, in his or her life, encountering people, not person B, sorry, person B, not you, but other people just wanting and taking and needing and feeding off of their energy. And I think person A, if this is you, you are just so tired. And I really want to give you a hug. I even want to give person B a hug, not like a way, like I'm not trying to steal your man, your man, your man. Okay. But I feel bad for this person in the sense of like they're so hard on themselves. And people are often so distracted by how they appear on the surface because they appear cool, calm, collected, and a lot of fun, that they don't see how hard this person judges him or herself or their self or whatever. Okay. Point is, um, both of you are hurting. And I think both of you have the key to the other person's um, like healing that hurt. And I'm sorry, I'm mixing metaphors and analogies and what have you, but um, I just mean it's a beautiful energy here where each one of you gives to the other and helps the other person see things in a new and different and fresh and beautiful way that perhaps you haven't seen things before. I know you think you've seen everything. Sorry, not sorry. Okay, but the point is, I don't blame you for that. By the way, if you're pile A, I don't blame you for that, person A, in pile one. You've become that way because you've had to. So I don't mean to blame you. It's not meant to be blame. I'm sorry. It's just meant to say, look, if you're willing to have the open communication, if you're willing to accept and let down your guard, just like a smidge, if both of you can let down, okay, just a hint of a little bit of letting in the guard, that there can be this light that comes in. And I want to point out, I saw a lot of this greenish blue energy here, which is energy of prosperity, of growth, of healing. So I think there's a deep energy of that. With the blue, there's some communication. So I think that through this communication, there's going to be a lot of growth for you. And I think it's really gorgeous to see how much the two of you are going to grow together and sort of like intertwine like some vines here. Where each one of you makes the other stronger and better, where person B can become the person they want to see themselves as. And you, person A, I'm hearing divine feminine, divine masculine. That's how I'm feeling. It's energy, it's not actual gender. You're able to like come into your soft person era. You're able to let down the guard if you can just give it a chance, give it a hint, give it a like, just let the person show you who they really are and trust and believe in that. And the other side, we have the thread. Now, first of all, it's a red thread, which, in a lot of cultures is a symbol of protection. It's a symbol of a love, a divine connection. Here it talks about, um, you know, how can I put this? You are focusing on the mountains in the background and the upside down rainbow, the unhappiness. But your energy toward the relationship is like, I'm going to hold on. This person B, I'm going to hold on. I'm going to trust and believe in this, this communication, this relationship. And if you look, it's a taut thread. It is not like a loosey-goosey thread. This is somebody who's pulling against something that somebody else is pulling on. So it says to me that despite all the gloom and the doom here, this person B is somebody who knows that on the other end of this thread is somebody else that is pulling just as hard, that is holding them just as much, that is not judging them just as much. So I think this person B is ready, willing, and able, maybe more so than person A, to I don't say let go because they're not going to let go of the thread, but they're willing to accept the risk that may come from trying fresh. And that's because maybe they haven't had the experience of person A where they get burned and burned and burned and burned. They're just intrinsically the kind of person who wants to self-improve to the point of criticism to an extreme, self-criticism to an extreme. So they don't have that experience, but they are like, I'm willing to hold on and know that this person that's meant for me is going to see me for me, is going to see me for this beautiful rainbow despite all of the clouds. I mean, they're not going to, I'm sorry, they're going to see you as a rainbow person B, but they're also going to see like it on the surface. It may look very rambucular, rainbowish, beautiful, but underneath there is this dark energy. And I think they're hoping that in this relationship, this person A will see all this dark energy, will see all these things that are brewing and stewing under the surface, and accept them and love them regardless of that. So let's talk, by the way, also, this is all very beautiful. The two of you seem like really, really interesting, great people who are very well suited for one another. And I love that for you. Anyway, as I was saying, let's come to the energy between the two of you, and then we'll come to the advice and get into some tarot. Okay, so for the first quarter moon, again, as I indicated, that's now, and that says to me, we're in the now, not then, now. Okay, um, you you are progressing. This relationship is progressing. You're so close to the finish, and not that there's a finish, there's no end, but like so close to like a union, so close to like having a breakthrough. Um, if you can look at yourselves, again, we have more of that mirror energy here. If you can step back, but not like so focused on yourselves that you can't see the other person, but see sort of a balance there. But it is an energy of moving forward. It is the back end right before you get to a new moon. You know, right before you get to, if I'm not mistaken, I'll look it up and correct me if I'm wrong. I'm sure y'all will. But you're focused on yourself, and in focusing on yourself, you're also focusing on the other person in a way, even if you're not doing it intentionally or with like meaning to do that. And I'm hearing like focus on yourself, but also like let that reflection allow you to see how this person is a reflection of you as well, that yin yang energy. We also have 38 as the number. You could be 38, you could be 83, God bless. They could be 38, maybe March 8th is significant, or August 3rd. But 8 and 3 is 11. 11 is your justice energy. It's that give and take, right? That equality, that balance that perhaps person A has been seeking in a third party or an external party, whereas person B has been seeking that balance between their internal and external. And that's where I'm seeing, like, again, big picture. Person B has an imbalance between what they are projecting and who they are internally, more than anything. Whereas person A has an imbalance between who they are projecting themselves to be and what they would like to be. And I think that between the two of you, you can heal that and grow from that and see maybe more of a true picture, and you're on your way to doing that. And we have, again, Mercury here, the planet of communication, the planet of Virgo, the planet of, you know, I mean, this person's journaling, right? So maybe journaling is going to help you get through this. But also we have Gemini as part of what Mercury governs, which is that dichotomy, as we were talking about here, where you're very complex, both of you. You have two different facets to yourselves. You know, what people see versus what you feel. And maybe some journaling can help merge this, can help with the communication between you. So it seems to me, and again, that's 19, so January 9th, September 1st could be important. 19, 1 and 9 is 10. 10 is your energy of the Wheel of Fortune, where things are changing for the better, or, I mean, probably not for, it could be for the worse, usually for the better. I try to be a positive reader, and that's what I intuit and ask for the universe for. So I think that this is a relationship that is moving in a very positive forward direction. I'm seeing, like, as I said in the beginning, like a slingshot sort of energy. I think there's been a lot of like holdback because of all the planets in retrograde. And now that they're coming out, you know, specifically with respect to Saturn, and with respect to, you know, Mercury, which is interesting, we have this here, things are changing. They're turning a corner. I feel like both of you maybe have felt kind of stagnant in this and confused, but I think that that confusion will lift through some of that communication, through, you know, whether it's communicating with yourself, in journaling, or meditating on things, or really, you know, looking deep within, and seeing how does that reconcile with how you know, project yourself into this world, which I think is just a great energy. And I think this is a connection that will go the distance. And regardless of that, even if it doesn't go the distance in a romantic way, and I don't mean to like jinx it, I'm not saying that, but if it doesn't, you both are going to affect one another like a rock in a puddle, where the waves of that, the impact of that, will go on in perpetuity, will go on forever and ever, and that person will never forget you. Um, this person is going to make, person B is going to make person's A life infinitely better, and vice versa, by allowing each side to see something differently and to reconcile those things. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see the reconcile card when we get to tarot, which will be momentarily. Bear with me. And I appreciate you being with me so far. Thank you so much. Again, this is TINLA at This Is Not Legal Advice. Like, subscribe, share, etc. My point is, I think this is a mutually beneficial relationship. One could call it symbiotic if one were so inclined. And I think Spirit's advice here on both sides is very applicable. We have balanced emotions for person A, right? This is a jellyfish. Now, incidentally, jellyfish are not one organism. They are actually multiple types of cells that just function together for their own like symbiotic benefit. And they can live, forever, if I'm not mistaken. They just continue regenerating, and the existence of the jellyfish may not exactly be the same now as it was then. It's different, it's complicated, and very existential. So drop me a note if you want to like have an online chat about it. But very existential, and almost like when you look at this from afar, this almost looks like an eyeball. So I think there's an interest in seeing up, seeing forward in this person. But balanced emotions, I mean, it says what it says. I think universe is saying, look, stop being so rigid, person A. Stop being so fixated. Stop judging and shutting people down so quickly. Step into your power, which your power happens to be in a sort of surrender. Now on person B's side, you have learned the truth. This is, this eagle eye here. Hold on. There we go. You got an owl here. I said eagle eye, but it's an owl. Somebody who can see in the dark, despite any lack of clarity. I think this person B, sees more about what's really going on here than person A might. So it might be that if you're person A, you're in a bit of a despair state, like this person doesn't care about me. They don't even know who I am. I think person B very much cares about you and knows who you are and sees who you are, despite whatever, shroud of mystery may be around you by your own doing or otherwise. But they want to learn the truth about themselves, but they're so they're digging. Like, look at how similar those colors are here. They're digging in that mirror to look for that truth so deeply that they're missing a lot of what really is. What really is, that truth of what really is not what they're projecting. And so I think there's an energy here with person B where Spirit's saying, look, take a step back and look at who is it you are portraying yourself to be versus who you are. Are those things consistent, person B? And that's the advice. Like, look at that. Look at your life. Are you consistent? Is what's inside really coming out? I'm seeing a lot of that red, yellow energy here, by the way. Very much an energy of passion, of, raw energy. So I think there's, again, a lot of potential here that's just ready to spring, but is being held back. In this case, I think because person B is a little insecure. In person A's case is because they really can't believe that anybody like person B would be interested, particularly when they've got all these interested people just circling around them. Like, how could you care about me when, I'm just trying to live my life, do my business, and meanwhile you're out here looking fly, doing all these things, partying like a player boy. Very much, what is that? I'm thinking of the Knight of Wands, Page of Wands kind of energy. You're just out here playing the game. Why would you be interested in me when I'm over here trying to be stable and live my life and do my thing? So, long story short, I know it's a bit late because we are at 50 minutes. Woo! Okay. I think this is a great connection. I think it's going to work. I'm excited if you all both on both sides can let down your guard. Okay. So with that being said, let's look at some tarot to get some clarification. Again, we have our black tarot, the void of non-existence, if you will. Great deck. I love this deck. And again, we'll have to probably zoom in on some things and we'll just hope for the best on that one. But I'd like to take a look at how you will know, if you are, whatever person you are, whether you're A or B, how will you know, viewer, who this person is in your life if they have been someone you've met? Although I do think they are someone you've met. They might be somebody who maybe you look at from afar with like a mix of like, I'm crushing on them, but I also kind of hate them. But whatever it is, like there's an energy of like this cutesy Victorian, I like you from afar, but nobody's going to say anything because that would just be gauche, you know, or terrifying or whatever, inappropriate. So, I mean, I don't know, maybe you all work together or you're students together, whatever the case may be. So I'm going to look first and foremost, how will my viewer, spirit, know who the person is on the other side of this, whether they're A or B? What is the opposite energy? How will they know who this person is, please? Okay, thank you. All right, let's take a look. All right, we have the Eight of Swords. This person is very much stuck in their head, but in a way where they're like self-limiting, right? This very much goes back to what we were talking about. It strikes me that you, viewer, might be person A more often than not, because this person is very, this Eight of Swords is very person B. Not to say person A couldn't also be like in a prison, like a mental prison of their own making. They could be, you could be if you're that person, but that's very person B energy. And look, there's nothing here. It's just an outline. There's no like actual tatas. Okay, calm down, YouTube. All right, and then we have Page of Wands. What did I say? Very Page of Wands energy. Okay. All right, I did say that. Did I not say that? Okay, I totally said that. Rewind it, flip it, play it back. You are seeing this person as somebody who is in that playboy energy. You know, this person who's looking off into the distance, very interested in sowing his or her wild oats and just playing the field. That's at least, again, how you, if I asked you, oh, is this person like you? What, like, we're having a drink, we're out there on, you know, Sunday fun day, and you're like, oh, this guy is like so about himself. Okay. But I don't think that's the case, as we discussed already ad nauseum. So what is this person's intention toward the viewer? What is their actual, genuine, to the bone intention with my viewer? Thank you. We have Temperance in reverse. And by the way, I don't try to read in reverse. It comes out that way, it comes out that way. So their intention is to shake things up, I feel, to not necessarily, I think maybe they're not ready right this second to come into full balance, but they want to shake it up. Whatever's going on in their lives or in your lives, like I think there's going to be like a tower moment, which wouldn't surprise me if the tower's on the bottom of the deck. But this is somebody who is ready to change it up, ready to take the leap, and they're going to do it with you. And they're going to do it in a way with this Knight of Spheres. Looks, by the way, like a rhinoceros on there, which I feel like a rhinoceros is like a real life unicorn, just a little chubbier. Anyway, very rare energy. Point is, this person is coming in with more of a stable, like a stability, like they're coming in with a plan, and maybe will surprise you that even though things are being shaken up, they have something in mind. We have the Ace of Swords on the bottom with a truth. You know, they're coming in to tell you the truth. We had that card here with the, where are we? This was a, of course it's going to be like at the bottom, learn the truth, right? There we go. We had to so much glare. We had to learn the truth card here with this. So I think it's a very auspicious sign that they are wanting to do that in terms of their intention. I'm going to ask what the action this person is going to take, if any, in the immediate future will be. And by immediate future, I mean the next 1 to 4 weeks of when you're seeing this, to be clear. I am filming it again end of November 2025, but it doesn't have to be something you're viewing right then. So what is this person's next action, if any, toward my viewer? Oh, okay. All right. It's Strength in reverse. Again, shapes, figures. Eight of Wands in reverse. Why is everything in reverse? The High Priestess in reverse. We got a lot of cards here. I'm gonna stop it there because that's just a lot. Okay, that's just a lot. Okay, so Strength in reverse. I feel like I was just listening to a song by Edema called Giving In, right? I feel like by them giving in, possibly by you, the viewer, giving in to your feelings, your desires, your emotions, as to the other person, giving in is actually winning. It's actually emotion in the positive direction. It's not losing. It's not a lack of willpower, a lack of strength. But the lack of strength in and of itself is a strength. And the Eight of Wands, that action may not occur, I'm sorry to say, in the next 1 to 4 weeks. Because the Eight of Wands in the upright is an energy of rapid movement. This may be something that's a long time coming. But, I'm not saying it's not on its way. It is still there. But right this second is something that's really kind of percolating in the background, like a teapot that's like on the precipice of screaming at you that it's ready. And then we have the High Priestess in reverse, and that's great news because, like, listen, the High Priestess is following your intuition, yes, but it's also an energy of like mystery and allure, and it's like both of you are done with the mystery. You're done with the games and the nonsense. I think both of you are ready to move in a direction that is more clear, standing in front of this moon of mystery, if you will, to let down your guard with this strength in reverse and actually take some slow, steady movement, some long-lasting movement toward one another. My next question was going to be what this person's ideal outcome would be in the situation. We have the Ace of Spheres. I think they want to make an offer to you, a stable offer, a good offer, something that you will be like, wow, this is like, I've never seen this before. Like, I'm used to people coming into my life, burning me and dipping out. But in this case, this person's really thought about it. They're proceeding in a slow and steady manner. They could be charging. Rhinos could charge, right? But this person isn't doing that. They're reining in. I feel like their desire to just swoop in and be like the playboy or whatever, playgirl, whatever, play person, and do what they always do. They're doing something different because they see you as something different. They see your intrinsic value in a way that perhaps nobody else has. Let's look at more about their ideal outcome. Let's see. What is the ideal outcome of the other person counter to my viewer? I can feel it. It's about there. I can feel it. I can totally feel. Oh, too many, right? But we have the Hierophant. Look, commitment. And by the way, Hierophant is the partner for the High Priestess. So, the Hierophant is stability. It's tradition. It's, maybe this person wants to go more of the traditional route. Not to say that that's like a good thing or whatever. I'm not religious or whatever, prudish. But maybe they want to like take that slow action. Ask you out on a date, bring you the flowers, bring you, I don't know, a tray of buffalo wings or something like that and hang out for the game. Maybe they just want to build things, start with a friendship, start with a deeper understanding of things. Let's see what the likely status of things is in the next 4 weeks. Where will you find yourself in 4 weeks? Page of Cups, starting to maybe let down your guard, starting to actually extend that cup, that feeling of love to the other person. Very mermaid, by the way, very much like what we saw over here. So maybe the person is seeing you correctly when they see that mermaid energy. They're seeing part of you. And the fire energy, like, again, very much that dichotomy that we saw about the fire and the water person. We have the Star. I think there's a lot of hope. There's a beautiful amount of healing and hope by virtue of this relationship you're going to be seeing in the next 4 weeks, which here, like at the time I'm recording this, would be before New Year's. I think there's a lot of great things in the works for you. The King of Wands, I think this is somebody who feels very passionate toward you, and I think you feel that way toward them as well. And I'm being told, look at the bottom of the deck. You have the Devil. Normally the Devil's like an obsession or something that's holding you back. I'm almost seeing like, okay, it looks to me like that moon, the way that the shadows are drawn here is almost like an ooh face. Like, oh, I can't believe this. Like, your emotions can't believe this person is that obsessed with you, that interested in you, that they're willing to look into the shadows and see you for who you are. Which I think is great. I think the person that is really meant for us, this is just me philosophizing, getting up on my soapbox, okay, pontificating, is somebody who can see us for who we truly, truly are and loves us, not just in spite of that, but because of that. Anyway, all right. Any last words from Spirit on this connection? What would this person say they feel toward my viewer if they were being honest? What is their like sensation? What is their emotional state? They have the Three of Cups. They want to reunite with you. They want to party with you. They want to, like, yes, they're party people, okay? But they want to party with you. they want to party they want to dance in the light of the full moon, or oh gosh, have you ever danced with the devil? Have you ever danced with the devil by the light of the moon? That's from like the original Batman. Jack Nicholson said that, so maybe that's significant to you. But we have the devil energy, right? And it seems to me that this is somebody who is they want to get together with you. They don't want to party in the wild. Then they're tired of going to the bars, the clubs, the whatnots, okay, bingo or what have you. They want to have that with somebody stable and steady in their lives, despite how it may appear. And we have on the bottom deck Four of Swords. Four of Swords is energy of healing, of growth. I mean, this person's in a meditative state. You know, there's somebody who's looking within. I think the energy here is very much an energy of, you know, go within. And the answers will be there. If you could just take a step back, if each of you could take a step back, stop looking at yourself so critically, so harshly. Stop looking at the other person maybe so harshly. And I think actually that's what's so sad in a way, if you think about it. Like, person A is looking at person B very harshly because of how they present, and person B is also looking at him or herself very harshly because of what they know is really going on here. So there's a lot of like negative energy, and an energy where person B needs to come into their emperor energy, again, regardless of gender. And just a last message from the spirit, we have the moon, okay, and we have the Seven of Wands. And Seven of Wands is like an energy of boundaries, and energy of like, if you look at this person though, it's not just boundaries, it's like my light is shining in the center of this black hole. Like, there is nothing around me. I feel like I'm alone. I feel like that's the thing, is both of you feel so deeply alone, but you're not alone, right? I know it's mysterious to you now. I know there's a lot of conflicting stuff going on. I know it feels hurtful, but you're not by yourselves. You actually have one another as this energy in the darkness, right? In the nothing, which is the stone you picked, or the non-stone, or whatever, the lack of the void. Anyway, and at the bottom we have the Magician. I think that you are both manifesting, and we have a manifestation of light, manifestation of dark cloudiness. So there's like a clarity and also like a lack of clarity, but like coming together, and you using those to get what you want. And look at that, underneath that, 10 of Cups, happiness, joy, love. Yay, we love that. I'm sorry, we love up in here at This Is Not Legal Advice. So hopefully that all spoke to you. What I'd like to do now is get some channel love messages. What, you know, you might say to this person if you weren't being, you know, all up in your head, and what they would say to you if they weren't being up in their heads. Thanks for hanging out. I know it's been over an hour. Like, I'm so happy you're here. Seriously, for real. Anyway, Spirit, tell me, and tell our viewers here, if they were going to be honest with the person that they think the other person is, whether it's A or B or vice versa, if they were going to be honest with this person, what would they say to this person right now? Okay, not saying you're a liar when I say it. They're going to be honest. I just mean, like, if you let down your guard, if you were able to just let it all hang out, what would you say, viewer, to this person? What would you say? Let's see how many. Oh, we got one so far. I'm going to go through 2 more times. Okay, just kidding, 3. All right. Oop. Okay. We have, I want to be different. I want to make it up to you. So I don't know if maybe you were kind of snapping at this person, like, you don't know me, what I've been through, you don't know. But anyway, maybe I'm just making it up. I don't know. I connect with you at night. You know, you could be dreaming of this person. You could be doing other things in your bedroom with this person in your mind. But there is definitely a connection that I think you feel toward this person. And you know that you want to be different, but I think you're scared. And I'm going to find out. That just jumped out. Give me 1 second. This just jumped out. But I was going to say, like, what would they say to you if they were going to be honest and open with you and not scared? Ain't scared. Okay. Oh, there we go. And one more, please. At least. Maybe 2. Hold tight. Almost there. Oh, so patient. Thank you. All right. Okay. First of all, I have to, oh, we got actually a bunch here. Okay, so first of all, the card that came out here says nothing except it says standby card at the bottom. So I think you're both like, when I think of standby, I think of like that little Windows thing, like when it's loading, it's like, it's circling around. So I think both of you are in this like energy, like, what do I do now? Like this person has all these things that I would love and see, but like I'm nervous, right? Are they gonna like me for who I am? Am I gonna be able to trust them? Anywho, look at that. You worry so much. Indeed, you do, viewer. You do worry so much. I mean, you're here because you're worrying. I love you for being here, but neither here nor there. Point is, you are so, I think, nervous about this, whether you admit it or not. I have troubles. It says I have trouble to express myself, which is fantastic. That is also in really terrible grammar because this person, definitely have trouble to express themselves. This person. Um, so I think there's a lot of things they want to say to you. They're just saying them all wonky because maybe they're just like, when they're around you, they look at you so highly that they just like are tongue tied. But they want to talk it over. Can we just talk it over? And I think you fill me up with happiness. Like they see you for all these great things. And I think there's a beautiful energy here of, um, you long for them and they also long for you, but in a way where I think they're a little more nervous than you are to come forward. And I think unless and until this person is ready to step in to his or her power and not be afraid that of you and be intimidated by you and be nervous that they're gonna like you're gonna reject them if you see them as weak for some reason, which they see themselves as, it's going to be a challenging road. Unless until that happens, it's not going to work. So I do think it can work. I think it's going to be beautiful if it does. But for right now, as we saw in that 1 to 4 week period, it's a slow burn. It's a brewing and a stewing and a, maybe you're okay with that as an earth energy with that Virgo constellation. Maybe you're a little okay with that, and that's cool. Um, which if that's how you are, that's how you are. Maybe you need to build trust with people over time, in which case that's even more perfect. So end of the day, love this for you. It is so different. I love that you picked the nothing as your symbol, and I look forward to joining you again next time on This Is Not Legal Advice. Have a great weekend. Hello. If you chose pile 2 along with this asteroid-like rock and our Astromatrix Tarot deck, then this is your pile. But to further confirm that, I went ahead and pulled some oracle cards, and we're going to talk about those first. And hopefully you will see your energy in at least one of these piles. And then if so, this is your pile. If you don't see your energy in at least one of these piles, then it is likely you're either in pile 1 or pile 3 or in a different reading altogether, which don't worry, you're not offending me. But what I'd like to do is start with those and see what we've got here. I will tell you that for whatever reason, I felt like this weird hesitation to do your reading. I don't know why. I love doing tarot work. I love talking with you all, but for some reason it was like, it was almost like, I don't want to say a nervousness, but just like almost like you don't want to hear what I have to say, like you're a little worried. But I'm here to tell you, don't be worried. Actually, your reading is so beautiful that I'm actually a little disgusted with everybody involved. So, that being said, guard your ears. We're going to go ahead and clear the energy. All right. And as that's going, we're going to go ahead and show you the oracle. So, what this person is pile A, or person A, I'm going to say is probably you, but it could be the other person. No worries. So, let's go ahead and take a look. So, first, we're going to show your general energy, which is represented by the ring. We're going to show your energy toward the other person, pile B, which is the vow, not the movie, although cute movie. And then we're going to look at how you, pile A, assuming you're pile A, I might just say you and them, I'm sorry in advance, view this person B. For that, we have the Sphinx, the Brownie, and the Satyr. And then we're going to look at the next card, which is the energy toward the relationship that you have right now, or person A has toward person B right now, which is represented by Lilith. And last, we have the universe's advice for you, or spirit's advice for you, which is knowledge. So far, hopefully that's sounding like you or someone you know. If not, it may be someone, again, you have yet to meet, or maybe this is not your pile. So pile B, person B in pile 2, because we're in 2, is going to be having this general energy of the dead end. Sorry, trying to joke, but it's not funny. It's cute. Their energy toward the relationship is the healer. They would view person A, or you if that's you, as the hippocampus. I'll talk about that in a moment. The basilisk and the plumed serpent. Their energy toward the relationship right now is represented by the waxing crescent moon. And advice from spirit on this connection is union. So, as I indicated at the beginning of all of this, your reading is so beautiful. It's a little disgusting. Yeah, just so much going on here, pile two. I got to tell you, I would love for this to be my reading. It is not, but for you, I am so excited. So, oh, I'm sorry, I forgot one more. Thank you for reminding me. We have the energy between A and B right now together as we sit. We have the moon. It says cycles there. It's card number 20. We'll get into all this just in a moment. So if one of these piles sounds like you, but you don't know who the other person is, it could be you haven't met them yet, or you maybe don't see them that way. It could also be that this is not your pile. If you see yourself in maybe both of these in some degree, it could be that you guys are mirroring one another, or you ladies, whoever you are watching this, thank you for joining me, by the way, on, once again, this is not legal advice. I am Tinla, your host. So let us start the reading here by drinking some of our cup of whatever it is you're drinking. Today it happens to be hot coffee, or at least tepid coffee. So anyway, hopefully you got some good going on there. All right, so with respect to your energy on the whole, this ring card is just fantastic. I mean, look at how gorgeous it is, first of all. These colors here are just beautiful. This is number, what is this, 57. So you could be 57 years old. May 7th could be important to you, which would be Taurus energy, or July the 5th, which would be, if I'm not mistaken, that is Cancer energy. So that could be one of your signs, but not necessarily. I'm kind of seeing this person A, to be frank with you, although I'm Timla, not Frank, not the point. This person A is kind of a hippie, kind of like a, hey, time is an illusion, just go with the flow kind of person, which I just think is fantastic. And I am so jelly belly over that. But just, look at the beautiful colors here. We have this almost like a universe captured in there. I'm thinking like that Men in Black thing where the cat, I don't mean to do spoiler alerts, but this is like 30 years ago. So come on, fast forward, get with the program. Where the cat has like the universe in its pendant on its neck, has a whole galaxy there. Maybe, well, not the universe, a galaxy, sorry. But this is like a galaxy encapsulated by these almost like rings, or snake energy, very similar to this snake in the healer. So there's a lot of cross watching here, a lot of cross energy, which I think is great and shows the connection between the two of you and how beautiful it is. Another thing I want to say about that is, comparing this ring energy on this side with the dead end energy on person B's side, I think is really fascinating, because the dead end, of course, right here, we have this black and white versus the color. And when I think about these two together, I think about how black in terms of a paint color or something like that is very much the totality of mixing all of the colors of the rainbow together, coming up to the black. Whereas white, on the other hand, can be representative of light, and how all the colors of the spectrum are contained in the whiteness of light. So all the colors either way are in this, no matter how you look at it. You all are together, irrespectively of whether you are looking at it from the black angle or the white angle. Either way, you're there. You're in this person's heart. So don't get too put off by this dead end. Sorry, I can't even. But anyway, don't be too put off by this dead end card and how, it might appear negative at first. It is negative in the sense of black and white and pictures being negatives, but that's not what it is here. Here it is great. I think your energy is very positive. I think that you, if you're person A, are seeing all the beautiful colors in the world, diversity in the world of personalities and just of experiences, and you are just embracing it all. There is a contrast here. And by the way, the dead end is on page 143 of the guidebook. And 143, of course, if you're old school, or like, myself, or you're just older like myself, you would recall that 143 is like beeper code for I love you. So I think this person, despite appearing black and white, may actually have an undercurrent of, but I really love you. So don't be put off by how I may seem right now in terms of being on or off. Okay, so right now, beautiful energy on your part. Looking at these three together, the Sphinx, the Satyr, and the Brownie. I had to look up what the Brownie was. I've never heard of that particular myth before. But it's really a fascinating combination because it's like you view this person as being a mystery with the Sphinx. You got to answer the riddles, right? Find out who they really are to get past maybe this black and white energy. You got to see the other side by virtue of um, answering those questions. And you kind of see them with the satyr as just out there having a good time, very relaxed, a lot of not focused on a lot of the seriousness of the world, which I think is very compatible with who you are. Um, but I also see them as, you see them as partying. You see them as like having a almost like a weird like cold logic, but also like which is like one side of it, the black side or the white side, however you want to flip it, but also like a partying side. So there's like a weird balance that you view them as having here. The logic with the philosophical nature, but also um, balancing that with the partying aspect or the relaxed nature. I think on the whole, you might be a little more que sera, sera kind of person. Whereas philosophically, again, while the satyr represents, in mythology that pan spirit of just having a great time. Um, I also think when I see satyr, I think of like Jean-Paul Sartre or Sartre. I don't know. In the French, it's Sartre. Who typed up that famous phrase, God is dead. I'm not suggesting, we get into a whole philosophical discussion, although if you'd like to, again, drop a note in the comments and we can get started on that little thing. But just a like would be cool, or subscribe, or all three. Who knows? But, this person is somebody who perhaps isn't religious in some of the traditional sense of the word. They might not be tied to um, again, traditional structured religion, but that's not to say they're not spiritual, not to say they're not really thinking about the ways of the world and considering all the mysteries of the universe. Um, they are seeing a lot here in terms of you know balancing work expectations, life expectations, but not I mean, they're taking it seriously, but not like that seriously. I'm almost seeing in a way also this person that you're or person B might be on one or more spectrums. Again, with the rainbow, you could be as well on a spectrum, perhaps like ASD. They could be ASD, or maybe have like an ADHD or some other diagnosis along that lines. And I, to be clear, when I'm talking about diagnoses, I'm not talking about me in any way being a diagnostician or a doctor in any way, which we'll also circle back to at the hippocampus. Um, but or to say like some of these things like being on the spectrum is a diagnosable issue where it's a bad thing. I'm not suggesting it's a bad thing. In fact, I think it brings a lot of color to your lives. In fact, you, in whatever mindset that you are in, can see the beauty of the spectrum and the continuity of the variety, like we talked about earlier. And this person may see the things a little more black and white, but they're also, I think, working on, and you see them working on, like, hey, we have being serious over here, being philosophical over here, but also some of that lighthearted spirit, that partying, and not partying like necessarily going out with the boys every night, but like being a little more lighthearted and working toward maybe unifying those things a little bit better, maybe integrating those things a little bit more. So I think that's your perception of them. And it's not like a negative perception anyway. I think you see them in a very positive way, just someone who is different from you, but different, like good. Like you can see the value this person would bring to you. Looking at the Lilith, okay, the Lilith card is really interesting because there's a walking away from expectations. You know, you're together with the vow. You are looking at things very differently. You're looking at things as you're shaking off some of the traditional expectations of you. You're seeing, again, the spectrum of things. I'm almost seeing like, while you are in favor of perhaps a committed relationship, or person A is more the kind of person who would be open to a more fluid state of a relationship, a more open state. Again, shrinking or shirking off those traditional expectations that might be associated with a vow. It's almost like on a deep spiritual level, you realize that the physical form, or person A realizes the physical form of somebody is not the end all be all of whether there is a true love there. Like, yes, you could come together and go apart and come together, but there is a thread consistently of love throughout here. And just because perhaps you're sharing that love throughout your life with friends, family, passion projects, whatever, or just because this person's a little more black and white about it, those are all acceptable options to you. That doesn't change the depth of your connection to this person B. Again, very beautiful energy. This is number, what do we got? 44, which is great. I mean, that's a stability and energy. It's a like, when you think of that, you think of like the Four of Wands, where it's like a home is being built. There's like a festivity of celebrating just some kind of beautiful progress. And if you look at this from afar, you pull back, it almost looks like an eyeball, um, where the pupil is dilated a bit more, which would indicate to me that you are somebody who can see through the dark a little bit more. I don't know why I'm like being, I mean, I know why. It's intuitive nature, whatever. We'll get into that later. But there's a lot of like medical stuff that's coming to mind here. So it could be that either you or your person or both of you are in the medical field, whether as a doctor or even a healthcare attorney or a nurse or even an LPN, any number of individuals who contribute to the healthcare system. This could be in your energy or theirs, or perhaps like you wanted to be a doctor, but you kind of changed your mind and saw like healing as your journey, but in a different way. We can see the diamond here, and of course, diamond traditionally in the United States, at least, is the diamond engagement ring. Thanks to Beers for that little piece of salesmanship, salespersonship. Again, which would traditionally say, let's talk about a committed energy marriage type thing, which it could be, but it says to me there's like a deeper energy here. This is also either a radiant cut or a cushion cut, which says to me it's not like a traditional round or solitaire, which is very, I don't want to say common, because common can be beautiful in its own way, but it's out of the ordinary. Your vow rests on, um, diamonds are formed through intense pressure put upon carbon over time, often coal, and forming this beautiful raw material that is then shaped through craftsmanship or craftspersonship into the sparkling, gleaming stone that you see. So I'm not suggesting that your personality has always been this way. In fact, if we look at these, they're both kind of like two eyeballs. Um, you're seeing things new and different now, maybe than you did before. Maybe you've arrived at this sort of wusa, hippy dippy thing. And I say that in the best, most loving possible way, which I know you know, because if you're pile A, you understand me without me having to say that. But anyway, you arrived at this energy through, I think, toil and hardship. You're in a sense of peace with this dove, but it hasn't been easy to get to. You're soaring, but you're soaring through consistent work and effort, building those wings, building those muscles. Again, seeing things differently with your eyeballs. And like I was saying, or I started to say before I got off on a tangent there, from a biological standpoint, the pupil, it dilates when somebody enters like a dark room or a darker area than they were, so that the pupil can take in more of the things in that space than they would have had their pupil been constricted. So you are, in a sense, I'm feeling like taking in a lot more. Like maybe you view the world as dark right now, which it can be, and quite honestly is in a lot of places. And we've dealt with that historically as people just across the board. But despite that, you are taking in the beauty of it, and you're choosing in a way to see through your journey. You have learned to see the beauty in variability. and that it doesn't, things don't always have to look the same. They don't have to look, societally okay for it to be meaningful. So, in terms of what the universe would be advising person A, it is it is focusing on that knowledge, for continuing to focus sort of on yourself as you've been doing. I get a sense that person A has very much been focused on um, his or her own journey here, and I think Spirit's saying that's great, that's wonderful. Keep looking toward building that knowledge. And again, when I pull back from here, I almost see like a little, like this is a head and a torso and like legs crisscrossed in like a meditative position, like a yogic cross leg sort of thing, crisscross applesauce style, where maybe you are going within very frequently already to recenter, regroup, and refresh yourself. And I think Spirit's saying you're doing a great job. Keep going. Your knowledge, I think, what I'm hearing is you will. Your vision of the world is beautiful and fantastic, and through that vision, I think you're going to make some really beautiful progress and change for society as a whole. Not that anyone is responsible for changing all of society. I mean, that's quite the burden to take on. But I think like you're very, or person A is very easygoing, and I think Spirit's saying like, well done, well done. So I think that's fantastic. I'd also like to point out that, this asteroid looking stone here, asteroids in astrology uh, do affect things in your chart. They do have significance, of which, by the way, Lilith is an asteroid, um, but they don't do the heavy lifting. The heavy lifting in astrology is very much like, well, is your Venus in your 11th house? What is your ascendant? What is, all those kind of things. The planets, the constellations, the houses, those are the heavy lifters. Here with an asteroid, it's like it still impacts your natal chart and sort of how you view the world and how the world, uh, impacts you, but in a far less sorry, in a far less substantial way than some of these other things. And I'm laughing because I just said, asteroids don't really impact the world as much. I would suggest that the dinosaurs perhaps would disagree with that, but that's why I laugh, because yes, asteroids um, typically have minor impacts on your chart, but could very well rock your world, could very well cause substantial change in one's world, were it to strike your planet, your Earth, in that particular way. So if you see yourself in person A, welcome aboard. This is you, but perhaps you're person B, which we will talk about now. All right, so we already spoke about this dead end energy quite a bit, and this is going to be number 40. So this person could be 40 years of age. You could be 40 years of age. Maybe you met at that age. Maybe that's when you'll get together. But interestingly, again, we had the 4-4 here and another 4, again, mirroring that stability in a sense. So while I think person A sees the spectrum of beautiful things in the world, this black and white mentality that your person may have in person B also brings its own stability, because there are things that can be very clear that are not a spectrum. And I think there's a purpose in seeing that as well. So this person's energy very nicely balances out, because yes, there are things that are on a spectrum, but there are things that are black and white. For example, I would suggest, you know, a black and white issue might be, is it okay to murder someone just because you don't like the color of their skin, right? Just trying to be as apolitical on this as possible. But my point is, that's a black and white issue, right? Very few things in this world are black and white, but there are things that can be. And murdering someone out of cold blood because of some bias is just flat out unacceptable. And I think that's the balance here is, yeah, some things can be reckoned with in this way, but some things need to be reckoned with a little bit differently, a little bit more crisply. And I think this person's energy is very much the counterpoint to person A's energy, which is why I think there's a beautiful pairing here that does not require a lot of change, a lot of work. If anything, this reading is telling you both, or whichever side you're on the right track. You're doing a great job. Keep on keeping on. And when the two of you get together, if you're not already together, it's going to be a gorgeous union that maybe is a little untraditional, but in a way, you're both okay with that. Which, different strokes for different folks, right? That's that rainbow mentality. If anything, I'm not saying that you're not together with this person. It is actually more likely than not that this person is in your life right now. It is possible this person is either in a romantic connection with person A right now, whenever you see this, but it could also be that they're in the periphery, almost asteroidal with their circulation, right? Their trajectory. They're in your orbit, but not necessarily in a relationship with you. Although I do think there was probably a romantic relationship in the past, if not currently, between person A and person B. But it's not the kind of relationship we typically see in these readings where they're like you're in separation, or there's like you don't know how the other person feels. I think there's a very different energy here of where you both sort of know what each other feels, but are very accepting of where you are right now. The only thing I could see as being maybe more of a, not a problem, but like a difference is maybe you're more, or person A is more fluid in terms of interpreting the relationship, whereas person B may have been someone who, in that black and white energy, wanted more stability, wanted, more of that energy of commitment. And I think perhaps, you, as if you're person A, also feel that commitment to this person, but it may not be in that traditional let's get married sense. It could be, again, with that diamond there, it could be, but not necessarily. Maybe you're more of a free spirit, like I said at the beginning, kind of a hippy dippy, which I am okay with. No judgment, no harshness here. All are welcome. We listen and we do not judge. I would say that, but I'm totally judging everything all the time by virtue of the intuitive nature of it. Whatever. No negative judgment is my point. So, how does person B see person A? So we have the hippocampus, which we talked about a little bit when I was mentioning the medicinal nature of things. The hippocampus is actually a very small portion of the brain, and um, despite that, it rules and deals with sort of those functions of the body that you don't think about consciously. They just are going in the background. Things like, I don't know, breathe. The heart should beat. This hurts. Be aware. Like this is what is going on in your body. I don't want to say like intuitiveness, but it is almost giving a sense of an intuitive nature. This person, I think, is seeing you as the constant in their lives. They're seeing you as the person who is running things behind the scenes. You're on top, person A to person A. You're on top of sort of the everyday mundanity of things. You're cooking, you're cleaning, you've got that. That's your baseline. And they see you as being like not over that, but like they see you as being very much in tune with that and able to handle the day to day with like no fuss, no muss, no stress, right? I think they also view you as a little bit different than the rest. If we look at these animals here, right? These two here. Come on, there we go. These are, well, let's just be real. They're a little different. They're a little strange, right? This is a horse water creature, and this is a winged lion thing, and these are not found in nature, mercifully, because that would just be terrible. I don't know, maybe some cultures believe they really exist, but this like griffinish thing and this horse sea monster creature, apparently hippocampus, neither hippo nor campus, exist in the real world. Again, mercifully, if I saw one of these things, either one, I would probably run away or swim away or whatever it is, get on this ship and not head toward the beast, but away. Anywho, they see you as a little bit of an anomaly. It's my point. Person B sees person A as a little bit of an anomaly, and vice versa. Different kinds of anomalies, but still unusual in your own weird, beautiful way. Same thing with the satyr. Again, that's a half goat person thing. Also, you could be viewing this person, maybe they're in Aries or you're in Aries. Just a side note, again, these signs are irrelevant. But, also look at this one over here. We have another weird little mix. This is a chicken turkey thing on a snake, the basilisk. Could just be you like, the Harry Potter series where the basilisk was, I believe, in like the second book or movie. But anyway, I think there's this dichotomy. I'm seeing a lot of dichotomy. I'm seeing a lot of like two things that shouldn't work together, but for some reason do. Um, for good, bad, or otherwise, right? The two of you may be very different in the sense of maybe you're more of the go with the flow, or person A's go with the flow, hippy dippy. Person B might be in maybe a profession or something that requires more like mathematical precision or a specific way of doing things, maybe more of an executive nature where people are not looking at this person and thinking there's layers here. This is somebody who's complex. They see this person maybe as like a very much a rule follower, which, as I was saying earlier, this person may be, either ASD or ADHD or some combination of traits there, where there are a set of rules for the world, and this is what we follow, and this could be how this person views him or herself, or the world views this person. But the reality is, I think person A accurately sees person B as being way more than that, as being more subtle and layered than that. And I also think that while person A may appear to the world as being very nonchalant, very go with the flow, um, person B views person A as like a beautiful freak, and I mean that in the best possible way. Like, and then like something unusual, something different, but like awesomely different. And I think when they think of you, or person A thinks of person B, like they smile. They think like, look at this quirky person. I love it. This is amazing. Um, they're so different from me on the outside, but in the nougaty center, we are very much the same. And I think that's why it's such a gorgeous combination of, because you're a study in contrast, but the same, like two different halves of the same, I don't know, Kinder egg. Um, you're in it together, and it's just a fantastic, gorgeous thing. I'm so jealous of this relationship because it is like, first of all, problems virtually non-existent. If anything, any problems that might exist would be from external sources, where somebody's taken away for work purposes. They have to travel a lot, and this person then is like, okay, do what you got to do. This person might be a little upset that like this person doesn't seem to care too much about the fact that they're going to be gone for 3 months. But it's not that this person doesn't care. It's just that this person A knows that at the end of the day, there's this vow, there's this deep connection that goes beyond the physical realm. And I think maybe if anything, person B is coming to terms with that. We have their energy toward the relationship. I'm coming back here, and we'll come in here for a second again. But in the relationship, again, we have kind of an eyeball look here, and another weirdo creature, right? We have like a snake-based Cerberus, a three-headed snake, which also makes me think of a Hydra in Greek mythology, where a Hydra is a creature where like you cut off one head and three other heads replace it. Like, it's hard to destroy, it's hard to kill, and that's how they view this relationship. Like, maybe this person has even tried kind of cutting it off because maybe they're a little concerned, like, person A doesn't care enough. And so they've tried to cut it, but they realize they can't. Like, this is never really going to end. Days may go forward, weeks, months, years may even pass between the two of you, where again, you're in each other's orbit, but not necessarily having a full blown committed relationship. And this person realizes, I am never going to be gone. Like, this is never really going to end. Okay. Whether I want it to or not. And, again, there's beauty in this with the almost rainbow background. Also, we have here 25. So May 2nd, February 5th. February 5th is, excuse me, that is Aquarian energy. Whereas May 2nd is Taurian. Again, we have more Taurus energy here. Which is, stability, but a little strange, a little different. Seeing things a little different. And it's this, again, this cross pattern here where, you know, there's also some rainbow starting to come into this person's perception. I think if anything, this person over here is teaching person B not to be necessarily as black and white, that there is also color and spectrum in this world, that there can be beautiful things that aren't necessarily the way you would expect them to be. And, with the basilisk, this person might view the person A as being somebody who's a little bit overindulgent, or maybe creates sort of like destruction in their path without meaning to, maybe consuming more than would be expected. But if there's anything that's being destroyed by person A, it's bad luck. It's bad vibes, right? Because the plumed serpent can be good fortune, good luck, prosperity, coming in with great messaging. This person over here, I think person B views person A as somebody who sees the negativity in the world, and just by virtue of this person's positivity and acceptance of the world as it is, this person sees person A as like destroying the negativity, destroying um, the anything that comes incidentally in this person's path that is negative, and bringing prosperity to those around them. I'm also seeing somebody who, if this person A came into a lot of money, perhaps this person would be generous with that money because they view money as fluid, as a renewable resource, which at times may appear like, oh, they're just spending all this money. They're being wasteful. They're being greedy. But this person, I think, sees money as just fiat currency, like, yeah, it does things for us and then it could come and go at any point. It is easy to be replaced, but family is not replaceable. Good fortune will always come around for me. I know that, and I trust the universe that that's going to be there. And the beauty of my relationship in my life is not going to be affected by overspending or underspending, whatever extremity they may view you as. So because I think person B is a little more extreme, a little more black and white, they may be projecting onto person A some of that black and white also, where they're saying, okay, well, maybe they're overly spending or they're overly saving or they're doing something that I would view as a little bit too loosey goosey. But I think, again, in a weird way, they view this dichotomy as a good thing with you, person A. Again, if there's anything I think that it needs to be worked on here, it would be an acceptance of one another. I think there's more acceptance going this way from person A to person B, because of the nature of the rainbow being encapsulated everywhere here. But person B maybe needs a little more, a little less rigidity, a little more flexibility, a little more understanding that this dichotomy can be beautiful. And just because somebody is one way one day or something looks one way one day, that doesn't mean that tomorrow won't be different. Let's carry on then to our card here, the waxing crescent moon. We're just completing that time right now at the time of filling this, of course, or filming this. Of course, the crescent moon speaks to coming full circle, things renewing, the cycle renewing, which we see again in the moon here. Generally, the cycle, and but again, it's forward progress, and this goes back to where we are now. We're coming out of Mercury retrograde. We're coming out of Saturn retrograde. We're moving things forward. There may not have, like, it's like a stop start kind of thing, which is why I feel like this relationship may have had a lot of stop starts or appear to be stopping starting, but really it's just kind of a cycle between person A and person B, but like a cycle like that never ends, right? Not like the song that never ends. That's a terrible thing, and I'm sorry I put that in your head right now, viewer. But it's like, it's not bad. It's not a bad thing just because something is cyclical, and it doesn't mean it's a bad thing. The energy flows this way and that way, and it really is a beautiful rhythm. I'm very much seeing like that infinity symbol here between the two of you. And again, even though we just came out of the waxing crescent, anytime that this finds you, um, it can speak to you about this understanding that like forward progress is occurring, but even forward progress is still kind of backward progress, if that makes sense. You're still kind of cycling around, and that is going to tie us in very nicely with this union card. The spirit's saying, look, your advice here, person B, is to recognize the union for what it is, like not be worried, not be as nervous about it. And in fact, we have sort of a yin yang symbol, right, Cha, right, which is that give and take, right, that black and white, not black and yellow, black and yellow, huh? Just kidding, but not really. Love the song. Anyway, it's enwrapping itself around you like these snakes. It's like a never ending cycle, but bringing like a sense of completion to one another. The rainbow within the black and white. The vow without being stifled by necessarily convention. The ongoing cycle of life. Uh, Again, you have two rhinoceri here in this union card. The rhinoceri are like the unicorns of the land, like the real unicorns, whereas narwhals, just by contrast, are the unicorns of the sea. And sorry, I was just thinking like the chicken of the sea and like, okay, all right, quick story time. Okay, this is where my mind went with this. I'm thinking of rhinos, like I just said, unicorns of the land, duh. But narwhals being unicorns of the sea, which took me then to the chicken of the sea, which takes me back like 25 years or so to when Jessica Simpson was having a conversation with Nick. Oh, I can't remember his last name right now. He's on the Love Is Blind, Nick Lachey, I think. Anyway, which maybe Love Is Blind is the thing that you watch together or apart, or like Eyeballs Blind. Anyway, anywho, the two of them were having a conversation, and somebody referenced the chicken of the sea, meaning tuna, but Jessica Simpson was like in this, what was like kind of perceived at the time as a very airheaded moment, like, oh, what do you mean the chicken of the sea? Like she legitimately thought that there was like a chicken in the sea, and that viewer cycles around. I promise this is coming back around here to the ASD nature that I talked about, the taking things literally nature of it. So that to me is this confirmation that the person that is person B may also be not just rigid, but like rigid in a way where their thought process is more along that ASD spectrum, where it's this, or maybe they don't understand idioms or turns of phrases that, so things might be like very clear, very obvious to someone else. This person may be very, very intelligent, very intelligent. I'm almost seeing like a evil genius scientist sort, somebody who's really cutting edge in a lab almost, but misses out on some of the humanity. Not even say humanity, like they're very human, very kind, very giving people, that B is representing. They're not unkind, but maybe their black and white view can be taken as not having, again, that delicious nougaty center. Anyway, um, the energy then between the two of you, A and B, is the moon, the cyclical energy, and it shows here in the card the beauty of the change, right? There's beauty in all of this. We have these daisies and these butterflies, just cycling around in the spring. We have, actually, this must be the summer, and then we have this autumnal energy, things falling, but also mushrooms blooming. The moon phrase here cycles right over the winter scene, and also this swan looking creature here, by this waterfall representing spring renewal energy. First of all, of course, the swan is representative of that like divine counterpart energy, which you both could be and appear to be divine counterparts, at least in some fashion. But also, I want to bring up how the summer here has the new moon, and which the new moon, of course, appears to us on Earth as darkness, as just non-existent. Whereas the summer, by contrast, is very much about the bloom and the growth and the beauty. And the full moon, of course, is the moon we see. It's the brightness. It's that stunning. That stunning orb in the sky, that super moon like we're going to have on December 4th coming up. But despite this illumination, this is like the darkest time of year, winter, the least sunlight, more of the moon perhaps, but more of this barren landscape. And despite this being a barren landscape, we have this full moon. So again, this is like a study in contrasts here, where, we are seeing, again, this balancing energy, this yin yang, and we could see our little crescent moon there, that waxing crescent. So coming up, as we are right now, coming up on the full moon energy. And very much I'm seeing like the wheel in the tarot here, which is, the cycle, like the things are turning. Things are turning. They're constantly moving. And some things may seem negative, but then they come back around. You realize they were positive, vice versa. And also number 20, which is that judgment energy, which, talks about renewal or like like a resurrection of sorts, which of course, resurrection, first you have to die before you're resurrected, right? But it's this cycle. It's very much a cyclical event, all of it represented here. And so the energy between A and B is this gorgeous energy of a never ending cycle, and not like a bad never ending cycle, but a beautiful cycle where even if you seem like you're apart right now, you're really just moments away from being together and coming back around. But at the core, it's like you're always together. So that if either or both of these sound like you, this is your pile. If not, I will see you in pile 1 or pile 3. But beautiful energy, just a little bit of tweaking, I think is what I'm hearing from the universe. Nothing too serious, because you guys are girls or whatever you may, uh, affiliate with, or relate to, whatever it is. The two of you are in a just beautiful, beautiful energy. Um, and, you're stronger together. You're overcoming a lot, both of you, or have overcome a lot in your own ways over time. So very proud of you. Let's get some tarot on what's going on. So I don't expect, honestly, I don't expect a whole lot to be surprising here to either one of you, whether you're person A or person B. I think either way, if you're watching this, you kind of know. I think you know that. I think you know who this person is. I think you know that maybe things are coming back around. I think maybe you're here getting some fortification. You're here to get some not clarification necessarily, but you could be in that energy along the cycle, that crescent moon area, where things are coming back to that beautiful full moon, but because you can't see it right now, they're like a little bit bereft. Maybe you're not fully in that energy of accepting the cycle, but you just need to know, almost like, am I crazy? Is this happening? Like, are we together? Are we not together? Like, how are we supposed to be together? What is that relationship, that dynamic supposed to look like? I just don't see you as somebody being here because you're in complete separation and you are worried. I think maybe you were even hesitant to watch this, because maybe in a way, like, especially if your person, no, it doesn't matter. Whether you're A or B, I think maybe there was a little hesitancy to watch this or like seek out tarot readings generally, because perhaps you feel like that is almost intrinsically doubting the process and doubting the validity of the cycle, questioning the universe, and you don't want to do that. You want to accept where things are going, and maybe you do largely, but it's like it'd be nice to have that little bit of like extra confirmation, and that's where I feel like this is for you. I don't think you're somebody who's like completely out of sorts, and struggling with the question of, is this person going to come in my life? Are they leaving? Are we together? I think you're together. You're just maybe in like a little bit of a rough patch and need some assurance. Anywho, all right, a little bit of my now tepid coffee, and let us talk about the questions for the tarot. So how will you know who this person is? The Hermit. All right, so we've got Virgo here. We just talked about that. The number 9, which is approaching the end of a cycle. We were just talking about that. Okay, the end of this cycle, right? Coming around again. Right now, things may be dormant, maybe just very seemingly cold and barren, but this light shining, like coming out of it, moving, getting ready to move forward. Because again, once you come out of that 9, you come into the Wheel of Fortune, where things are changing. So I do see that the both of you are in this energy of moving along the cycle, where you will see some change in the very near future, as indicated. So, by the way, I think that what I was just talking about with respect to not being super keen on watching this, in fact, a friend of yours may have recommended this to you or said, check this. This is not legal advice. Chicky poo out. She's wackadoo. You may have been a little trepidatious of that. And maybe that's why I was feeling that energy of like, ooh, trepidation. But you came here anyway, like those two cards. And yeah. So anyway, how will you know who this person is? Again, I do feel like you know who they are, but let's take a look. The King of Cups and the Ten of Cups. Oh my goodness. Okay, so first of all, let's just talk about how much this person absolutely looks like Prince, or the artist formerly known as Prince. Um, Between the purple velvety looking jacket and the little bit of heel on the shoes there, absolutely maybe a Prince fan. Maybe Purple Rain means something to you. Maybe purple is your favorite color. Maybe purple is their favorite color. Um, but this is somebody who is on the throne of their lives, but and loving and having that love to give, but right now might be a little more focused internally. I mean, I'm looking at this, almost looks like a clamshell here, right? Where this throne is like a clamshell. So maybe this is like a pearl. They're like the pearl in the clamshell, um, where it's starting to open to see the beauty of that and opening up to start to show that love. And look what we have back. Look what we have back here. Look at it. Look at it. Are you seeing this? Right, the rainbow. We just saw the rainbow. Um, I mean, I'm almost feeling compelled. Like, let us revisit. Okay, let us revisit mirroring energy. Okay, you'll know this person because they also have this rainbow inside, this desire to see things in more than just black and white. You bring color to their lives, and I think they know it. Right now, they're not able to look at you. Maybe they're kind of avoiding you right now because they're not sure how this cycle is going to progress. Maybe they're still a little bit in hermit mode, but it is coming back around, and this person is somebody that, again, you may have children with them. You may have thought about having children with them. You may both be focusing on the rising sun and ignoring these two children making a bunch of noise, uh, you know, but you're going into a happy future together, full of color, full of spark. We have here, it looks like, we have this Mars energy. Again, that goes back to, um, like, not Mars. Yeah, it could be Mars, the planet. It could be also the masculine here. And it looks like Gemini here. I'm not completely positive, but it looks like Gemini. So the point is, there's some energy of like, I think you're talking, you're chatting with each other in a friendly way, but this person is holding back that cup of energy, not ready to like fully extend it in that Four of Cups kind of way, but they're there. Six of Pentacles. Look at this. This is maybe those two kids there. We have, look, teeny tiny. Okay, yin yang, balance, completion of one another. Three over here, three over here, right? Stability. You are both a little bit stable in yourselves. It's a little bit out of balance. This is like very Two of Pentacles energy here. So you're a little bit out of balance. We have the moon. Oh, look at that. The moon, Kelso Breeze, and Taurus. All right. Stable energy, but not quite balanced yet. You're coming into balance though. So anywho, that was the how will I know this person. What is this person's intention toward my beautiful viewer? This is not legal advice. The person who's totally getting good juju, good karma by liking, subscribing, sharing, and leaving a comment. What is that person's intention toward my viewer? What is the intention? All right, bottom of the deck, we have the Knight of Swords. I'm seeing someone right now in hermit mode, but once that cycle turns, they're going to charge in with their truth. And this is a very fast moving energy. In fact, the Knight of Swords indicates, a number of weeks. So it could be within the next 2 to 3 months. This is going to occur, which doesn't seem that fast, but it is relatively fast in the scope of the universe. So I do think this person is going to have a swift change. All of a sudden, they'll snap out of that, that clam will like, boop, and the pearl will pop out, and they will know like, okay, I'm ready to offer my cup of love to this person. The cycle is coming back around. So what is more of their conscious intention toward the viewer? What is the conscious intention? Okay. Five of Pentacles and Nine of Wands. Okay. More. Okay. Beautiful. And by the way, bottom of the deck, 10 of Pentacles. Wow. Wow. All right. Five of Pentacles is an energy of being stuck out in the cold. I think this person has an appreciation that you, the viewer, may view their current action as being rejection, but it's not. I think the intention is, if you really look at this card, again, we have more Taurian energy here. This person has their arm around this person, shielding them, comforting them. And I view this as like walking toward this warm abode, this home. So I think this person is wanting to either be guided or to guide you, the viewer, into this place of warmth, come out of the cold, come into a new and different and better place with you. And also this Nine of Wands, we have a lot of fire energy with this. This is somebody who, the 9, of course, is like right before the 10. Okay, you're almost at the completion of cycle. You're almost there. Like, don't give up. They're not giving up. They're wounded. They're struggling. They're going through it. Maybe they're coming out the other side. But sometimes you got to open up that wound and scrape out the internal grossness to get healing and closure. Which, again, I don't know why I'm feeling like this medical terminology coming up, but I know that's really technical jargon there, the scooping out the garbage. But anyway, there's somebody who's been through it. They're fighting their own battles, but they still want to come forward. They still want to, go toward you. It's an energy of like turning around. Sorry, I thought about that 80s song. Turn around, bright eyes, and all that business. Anywho, but what are they turning toward? 10 of Pentacles. I mean, look at this. They're seeing, again, 10, 9, 10, right? They're going into this energy of completion, a cycle coming back around. We had the 6 before where it was not quite even, but here we have 3, 3, and 4. So there is evenness. Also, evenness here. It's just, it's gorgeous energy. And I think their intention is to meet up, grab a drink, talk it over. How you been? What's going on? And maybe their higher self is seeing in their mind or imagining what the future could look like with you. And it starts with a conversation, right? It starts with, hey, what's going on? I haven't seen you in a minute. That kind of thing. Something really low key, not low key like the trickster god, but low key. And I'm being told to look under here. What do we have? Oh my goodness. Holy cow. Look at that. If it isn't judgment. Oh my. The two of you, both 10 of Pentacles in a sense, coming together to make 20. Oh no. It's almost as if this was meant to be. It's almost as if this said 20 and we just talked about judgment. Who knew? And look, the Phoenix rising from the ashes, the cycle, again, the cycle coming back around. Out of death comes life. Okay. Amazing. I think they're seeing the cycle for what it is. You're starting to see the cycle for what it is. And the intention is to continue that cycle and get to the next level with you. So what is their next action toward you, the viewer? What is this person's next action toward you? I mean, outside of like the let's get together and have a combo in like a real low-key way. What is their next action? What is it? Okay, bottom of the deck, 9 of Pentacles. Look, right now, again, this is right before the 10 of Pentacles, which we just saw. So their intention is to get to the 10 of Pentacles. Their action is going to be to step toward that, both in the 9 of Wands and the 9 of Pentacles. Again, it's this energy of almost there, in a better place. But right now, you're looking good. They see you as looking good. You see them as looking good. I think you're both in really beautiful places in your lives, and their action is going to be, let's take that up a notch. All right, one more, please, on that, for the next action toward the viewer, please. And thank you, Spirit, of course, for all this beautiful guidance. I hope you're getting some value out of this. I hope this is speaking to you. If so, please let me know. I would love to know, because I'm like in a one-way conversation right now, right? All right. Anywho, 5 of Wands, they're ready to fight for it. This person is going to take some action to actually fight for it. And again, I'm looking at this, I'm seeing the rainbow here. They're ready to not give up. They're really standing their ground. And then we have the Tower. They're making change. Beautiful. Look at this. We have this this Egyptian eye of I think it's Akasha. I'll have to look it up. But anywho, they're yeeting all the bad things sort of out of the way here. That change is like sudden. It's again, we talked about the suddenness, right? As things cycle around, they're going to take action that is going to be dramatic and is going to change the scene, and it's going to show you that they're ready to fight for this. So that action is great. Let's take a look at the bottom of the deck. 6 of Cups. Oh my goodness. They are wanting to look, like he's giving a little chat, like, hey, like, let's talk, right? Let's have a conversation about all these like beautiful cups of flowers. Maybe they're going to bring you flowers. Maybe you really are a fan. And oh my goodness, look, we have the little daisy looking things, which right there at the bottom we also saw here, which is by that new moon, the cycle continuing. This is more confirmation for me that the sun is coming. That's a symbol for the sun right there. The sun, you both are looking toward the sun. You're both wanting the sun. The energy is looking at that future with optimism and with an understanding. So fantastic. I'd like to know. So I think their next action, what I'm seeing is it's going to be a dramatic shift from your perspective, but it could be something as small as, let's have a conversation, let's grab a drink, a cup of coffee, what have you, and oh, by the way, I'm going to bring you some flowers, which is like a totally different energy. Like right now, maybe there's a friendship energy, but there's like a, hey, look, I picked this flower for you, which is just like a hint of romantic energy, and I think that gives you a great deal of optimism. So what is this person's ideal outcome? If they could have it their way, what would it be? What would it be? And I'm going to go with theirs and yours. All right. What is their ideal outcome? All right. And it's a little bit different than I did with pile one because I'm being led by spirit to do that. All right. Ideal outcome from my viewer's perspective. Queen of Cups. Huh. And Eight of Pentacles. Bottom of the deck. Oh, the Devil. Bobby Boucher and the Devil. Okay. Wow. Okay. So you, viewer, want to be the queen to this person's king, right? You are saying, here's my cup. Ideally, like, fill up my cup with this this love of yours, and you're open to it. Your ideal outcome is, let's be partners. Let's sit down together and again have that conversation. Let's, where you been? What you been up to? What's going on? Your ideal outcome is you want that equal give and take, that partnership. I think you still want this person very much. And I think with the Eight of Pentacles, and I'm sorry, I feel like this needs to go there. The Eight of Pentacles is, I'm willing to work for it. And maybe this person was giving you the impression, again, with, if you're person A and this person's person B, it's like with that black and white energy we talked about, it's either I'm on or I'm off. I'm doing it or I'm not doing it. And they're showing signs of they're ready to do it. They're ready to fight for it. They're coming around in that cycle, and they are really ready to put in the work. So I think the ideal outcome for them is, let's keep building this. Let's come around and build something more stable and more grounded. And this Devil energy is tactfully covered up amazingly by these chains and whatnot. But it's like you. Okay. Also, I have to point this out. Look, this gentleman here, he is playing like a flute, an old style flute, which, hold on, we gotta rewind this thing. The satyr, the goat man person, known for playing a flute. Okay, we have this energy right here. Amazing. Okay, you saw this person for who they are. They are the person. They're like almost like leading the snakes around. Leading the snakes. Oh my goodness, they're leading the snakes. The snake. Okay, they are leading the snake to themselves. This person is drawing you in. And right now, you've got a mirror. You're focusing on yourself, as we talked about earlier, which I think is fantastic. But they're like, hey, let me play my flute for you. Let me entice you with something, whatever it may be. Maybe you're like a coffee addict, right? So like the obsession here is with coffee, and you're like, okay, I got you this special coffee I bought at the store, like this special like niche store. I don't know. It could be something like that. You got Capricorn energy, more stability. Number 15, of course, we have this, but it also reduces to 6. The Lover's energy, making a choice to do this, which takes us to like that Gemini time period. So this could be someone that you either, the last time you really talked to them was over the summer, but they are wanting to entice you. They're wanting to put in the work. Their ideal outcome is they're going to put in the work to draw you in, to get to this, to see the change and to be the change. So, oh my gosh, I love this. I'm so jelly belly, you guys. All right, the likely status of things in the next 4 weeks. Now, again, as I'm filming this, the next 4 weeks would lead us right into the new year. But this, again, is timeless and could apply to you, you know, whenever you see it. All right. So what is the likely status in the next 4 weeks? And then we're going to get some channel love messages. So let's get a couple cards on the likely status in the next 4 weeks. All right. What do we have, Spirit, for that? The likely status of things between person A and person B, my viewer and their person, in the next 4 weeks. I feel like I almost want to pick up these cards and put them back in because I feel like there's going to be a lot of repetition here. And because these cards are on the table, we won't be able to see them again. I'm almost being led to like grab a whole other deck to clarify, and I think I'm going to do that. Okay, Queen of Pentacles on the bottom, by the way. You're looking good, pile 2, looking good. Really just sitting in your glory, having a real moment. I'm going to borrow actually from pile 1 to get this this tarot deck because I really feel like I need to. You just sit over here for 1 second, please. All right, bear with me. To get the next 4 weeks. I think we need to leave these, but I think we also need to see confirmation. All right, so bear with me. Was not planning on this, but you know, what is it? What is that phrase again? You know, people make plans and God laughs or something like that. Like, you know, I was planning on something different, but here we are. All right. All right. Bottom of the deck, we have the 10 of Swords. So there's almost like a an ending. I mean, the 10 of Swords is, you know, associated with pain and death, but it could also be an ending to a situation. So wherever you are in your cycle, in that lunar cycle we talked about extensively and obnoxiously, kidding. Love you guys. And I am so pleased you are here, and I'm happy to talk about this all the time. Anywho, the point is there's an ending to this part of the cycle, something new, something different. And I also want to point out in this Queen of Pentacles here that we have a bunny rabbit, very spring, but also in the background these like autumnal leaves, again representing the cycle through it all. All right, so let's get some more likely status things in the next 4 weeks between my viewer and their person, and or A and B, however you want to see it. All right. Oh, one more, please, Spirit. One more, please. I feel like I also need to tell you, viewer, that I don't normally read in the reverse. I never try to read in the reverse, but if it happens to come out that way, then that is what I will do. All right, we have Temperance on the bottom of the deck. That is equal give and take. That is balance. That is all the things we've already talked about. So I think they want to see a better place with you. 14 is 1 and 4 is 5, which is that Hierophant energy, that commitment. All right, we have 7 of Swords in reverse. We're going to talk about this in a second. Page of Wands, Page of Cups, 7 of Spheres, which is the 7 of Pentacles, and 6 of Spheres. All right. So let's talk about this. I was just talking about how reversals, and there we have one. The 7 of Swords is an energy of, I don't want to say deception, but it can often be associated with deception. It could also be spying. So I'm seeing this as like they're in a spy mode right now, or they're hiding something from you right now. But in the next coming 4 weeks, they're going to reveal a truth to you. And that truth is the fire in the water energy. It's the, you know, they are passionate about you. They have love for you. They are making small moves, though. Pages are smaller moves. You know, so it's a dramatic shift from their perspective. But from your perspective, it might be just a little bit of something, like a hint of something, but it is a very big move for them to do that. We also have the Temperance, which I felt I need to put here above the 6 of Spheres, and we saw that 6 of Pentacles earlier, if you recall, talking about that even give and take. So I think there's going to be a lot more of that even give and take happening here between the two of you. I'm also seeing some things here with the hands pressing against that. Do what you will in your head with that. And the 7 of Spheres is an energy of like starting to put in the work, right? Laying a foundation, planting the seed for future growth, very just before the 8 of Pentacles, right? So this is their ideal outcome. Remember we talked about that? Their ideal outcome is they want to put in the work to grow this. This is them in the next 4 weeks, like planting that seed, starting that process. You know, again, going from Page of Cups to Queen of Cups, your ideal outcome, Queen of Cups. They're coming in here. Oh my gosh, hold on a second. I got to show you something. But they're coming in here with this like a little bit of give. Let me go back. Hold on. What did we talk about? What did we just talk about? This weirdo sea hippocampus creature. Look at that. The mermaid like tail and the upper body of weirdness. Very much a confirmation for me that you are on the right path. In the next 4 weeks, you're going to start to see that path illuminated in front of you. The illumination is going to come out of the dark. This fiery passion, very fire here, is going to show up, and something's going to spark, and it's going to be that step toward love. It's going to be the planting of the seed, the movement toward equality. Again, lighter to darker here, or darker to lighter rather. It's moving in the right direction. Temperance, more equality. One more into the deck. Six of Wands, coming in for a victory, right? This is somebody who maybe works out a lot. Maybe you work out a lot. Maybe they're working out the things in their mind while they're on the treadmill or lifting weight. Hard to say. Wow, what energy this is. Let's get some channeled love messages. What would you say to this person? What would they say to you if you all were being perfectly honest with each other? If you were honest, open, not in that Seven of Swords energy, what would you say to them, and what would they say to you? So let's start with what my viewer would say to their person on their mind right now if they were being completely honest. Not to say you're being dishonest, but like maybe you're holding back. You know what I mean? Anyway, thanks for staying with me this long, by the way, viewer. I really appreciate you. You are amazing, and yeah, I just appreciate you, and I hope this is speaking to you. I really do. And I wish, again, I could be in this energy because it's so great. All right, I see. Is there a second chance? I regret my behavior. I want to make it right. Okay, interesting. And standby. This is the second time I've gotten the standby card, which is like there's silence right now. There's not a lot going on right now. But I think you're wondering, when is this cycle going to come back around? When is our next trip around this cycle going to happen? Because I think in a way you're like, you almost can't wait. You're like so excited. Like I feel like in your gut, this is coming. This is going to happen. That's why I said like you're not in an energy where some of the viewers are like, oh, I don't know what's going on. Like I think you know what's going on, and so you're all like geared up, and so maybe you are like pushing it a little too much, and you're regretting that, and you want to make it right. And the way I think you're making it right is by standing by, is by just letting the quiet be right now. So honestly, the things you would say if the thing you would say if you could say anything would be to not say anything, is to let this person cycle and come around with their offer in their time, and not they're black and white, right? Where they're either on or off, and they need to come into that energy on their own. They need to walk through the rainbow to not taste the rainbow, that's Skittles, but they need to come into a change on their own. And we have, for them, this is what they would say to you, okay? We have, I'm sorry for not contacting you. Oh, look at that. Like you wanted them to contact you so badly, and they're sorry. Okay. I wish things were different. They're starting to make progress, right? And then I still think about you. Look, they have not forgotten you. Again, I think you know that. Just, chillax a little bit. And bottom of the deck, I feel like I want more, but I'm scared. So right now, again, I think they're coming around that cycle. They're just not there yet. And I know you want them to be. I know you do. And I think you're ready, willing, and able to be patient with them, to let the silence be. And I think that's great. I think it's beautiful. I'm really happy for you guys, or girls, or folks. And I just wish you saw me properly. I got bottom of the deck, past life regression. So I don't think this is, oh, what a perfect end here. I don't think this is your first time around the sun, the earth together. I think this is a relationship that transcends time, that you've gone through this cycle multiple times. And maybe this is the time where you'll settle in on that balance, and not maybe have to go through it. Maybe the cycles will be longer, where maybe it lasts more of, maybe even the rest of your life. But I don't think this is your first time around this journey together. So bottom line is, you guys are both awesome, whether you're A or B. You see yourself in both. I'm so jealous. You're amazing. Thank you for joining me on This Is Not Legal Advice. I will see you next time. Welcome, pile 3. If you chose this blue star and the Cosmic Wisdom Tarot, this is your reading. I'm going to go ahead and set up our oracle cards so we can take a look at your energy, or the energy of what I'm calling person A, and the energy of person B. And the hope is that one of these piles of oracle cards here will resonate with you as being um, one of the people involved. Hopefully you either relate to this one, or maybe both. And of course, the energy between the two of you. As I am flipping these over, or before I do that, I have to tell you, pile 3, as I was getting ready for your reading, I'll be honest, it was a very emotional preparation, just looking into things and getting a sense of everything. And I'm not an emotional person. I'm an air sign. I'm very logical. But this is a very water heavy reading. And I don't know if that was sort of premonitioned by this blue star and the kind of water color. But this is a very emotional reading. So strap in. But you'll see, I want to read you something that this preparation made me think of. It is a quote from a show called The Good Place, from one of the characters there, Chidi, talking to Eleanor. So maybe those names have some meaning to you. Anyway, the quote is this. Picture a wave in the ocean. You can see it, measure it, its height, the way the sunlight refracts when it passes through, and it's there. And you can see it, you know what it is, it's a wave. And then it crashes in the shore and it's gone. But the water is still there. The wave was just a different way for the water to be for a little while. You know, it's one conception of death for the Buddhists. The wave returns to the ocean, where it came from and where it's supposed to be. And that quote is very meaningful to me. In the course of me watching that show, it just really spoke to me. And as I went through your preparation here, it really spoke to me. And you'll see why as we begin the layout here. So for person A, we have, the ocean. But we also have the empty room. Now, this is going to be the energy of person A generally right now, whereas this card here is meant to be your person A's energy toward the other person that we're talking about. We also have person A's perception of person B, represented by these cards. We have the rainbow snake and the Kirin. Not the Karen, that's different. The Kirin. We also have this energy towards the relationship, which is Saturn energy. Let's see if I could bring this over here so it's in frame. There we go. And the advice from the universe on this relationship is magical power, here with the dragonfly. In terms of person B, we have the 1. The energy this person B has toward the relationship is the riddle. The way that person B perceives person A, the Tengu, and the Garuda. The energy this person has toward the connection is represented by the 10th house. And the advice from the universe here is creativity. So while you're looking at these, I'm going to go ahead and start talking about them. But again, keep in mind, as I indicated in the intro here, that my process in getting these pick a card readings ready, and I'm going to do this one in a second, is I select the decks based on what I'm being led to. In this case, I was thinking about Saturn and coming out of retrograde and Mercury coming out of retrograde. And so I picked some kind of universal themed, card decks, as well as some symbols for space here. But then I go through and I kind of feel out how these oracles might show up. I do a test run on myself. And then after I feel comfortable with how I have my setup, I go through and I do a blind pull for each of my piles. And so basically what I'm saying is, when I do the pull, I'm not selecting cards in terms of looking at them and knowing what they are. I'm selecting them based on how I feel like spirit is leading me. And then after I've picked them all, I go ahead and flip them and go through some analyses in terms of what the books say for these various cards, and what some affiliated things might be with those cards. And so in any event, I don't know really why I felt like I need to explain this, since I already talked about it in the intro, But maybe I'm saying it because there's so many amazing coincidi that are in this pile that just really resonate um, together. This energy is just so together that I feel like you almost might not believe me when I talk about this. But bear with me. I'm going to flip over this card that is the energy between the two of you right now collectively. We have death, which is represented by Pluto, and the number 22. Nobody panic. Everybody calm down. Nobody's dying. All right. Well, I mean, I'm sure somebody is just, statistically. But anyway, that's not what this reading is about. So nobody panic. I don't do those kind of readings, nor do I want to. So with the cards on our table here, let's clear the energy to get started. Go ahead and mind your ears. 1, 2, 3. So like I said, strap in, grab your cup of coffee or not coffee, and let's get talking about it. All right, so again, this is person A, this is person B, and you may resonate with one or both of these energies. It varies. The results may vary. Once again, this is TINLA at This Is Not Legal Advice, and I remind you, this is not legal advice. This is different than that. But thank you for joining me, pile 3. Okay, person A, represented in your general energy right now as the empty room, number 42. Now, that was the first thing that stuck out to me when I was preparing to discuss your pile with you, if you're person A, because 42 is, if those of you who've read like Douglas Adams, which is, you know, uh, The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, perhaps you really like that series, or you're British and that just makes you think of that. Uh, 42 is the answer to life, the universe, and everything. And so for a very long time, people were like, 42, what the heck does that mean? And they thought maybe Douglas Adams was just being, cute and ridiculous. But as it turns out, maybe this is true, I don't know, it seems true, that 42 in ASCII, which is a type of computer programming language, is a symbol basically that means whatever you want it to be. And that comes around as you'll see as we go through this, that it ties back in to a lot of these cards and themes across the board. But again, so what is the meaning of life, the universe, and everything? The answer, according to Douglas Adams, is whatever you want it to be, which is just really a fantastic analysis of what we all experience here on our time in Earth. We can make it and fashion it into a lot of the times in what we want it to be. Now, excuse me, I would also point out that this made me think of somebody, perhaps person A is into computer science or programming or IT in some fashion. So that might be symbolic for you when we get to that ASCII. Again, don't get too distracted by the fact that this is called the empty room. It's not really meant to be morbid or depressing like that. It's meant to represent being impatient and needing to learn to sit with the energy and the potential for change, for growth, for um, positive outcomes. In a sense, before you can fill your cup, you have to empty the cup, and that's what this energy is here. Is you can make this into whatever you want it to be. You can make this relationship, if you're person A, into whatever you're wanting it to be. But don't be discouraged if you're feeling very lonely right now or sad, looking around at this sort of empty room of your life, because the beauty of the empty room is that it leaves an infinite number of possibilities. Again, the figurative empty room, not like a 2x4 closet or some nonsense. But the point is, it leaves open possibilities for anything to come in, including love, including this person coming in. I'm getting the sense with this particular pile that the two of you may not have met yet. The person that is maybe meant for you at this juncture in your life is someone you actually may not have met yet, but is coming toward you. And we'll talk about why that is in a second. But this to me, again, speaks about possibility, and a possibility that because of the darkness here in the empty room that you can't quite see yet. And there's also darkness represented here. So it could very well be that the person that is in pile B also cannot see the possibility in person A. Again, if you've met, maybe it's very casual, very in passing, but I am getting a sense that perhaps you have not met this person. So if you're somebody who's like, I don't want to hear about the person I broke up with, they can suck it. Probably this is your pile, right? This is the pile for people who feel like there's something around the corner, there's something new, something different going on here. And I also say that because if you look at these, how one perceives the other cards here, this energy here with the snake and the Kirin, they're facing this way, and this person with the Tengu and the Garuda, they're facing that way. So again, it's almost like you haven't turned to each other yet. Not to say you won't, it seems like you will, but at this juncture, you may not have seen each other yet or encountered each other yet. So if you're open to the idea of something fresh and new and different, again, this may very well be your pile. If you don't, however, see yourself in either person A or person B, maybe check out pile 1 or pile 2 or an entirely different reading. But this seems to me like a new, fresh connection. You're turning a corner with this death card. Something is changing. So, um, very encouraging because I'm getting the sense that both of the people involved here are very emotional. Not that that's a bad thing, but just very like in touch with their emotions, which is why I think like the empty room here hits very hard, as does this energy of person B, like almost seeking out the one, this romantic endeavor. And it's giving me heavy Cancer energy, even though we don't see Cancer energy specifically in these cards. There's a lot more Earth energy. Um, it's very much this watery, emotional, intuitive sense that I'm picking up from everybody. Now, in terms of person A and how they view this connection, again, I'm not seeing necessarily that they are viewing it. When we look at this, it might kind of look like an eyeball here with the pupil here that hasn't quite connected yet. That's one way to look at it, or not look at it, as the case may be. But it's this, this beautiful ocean that, again, going back to that sort of statement or poem or whatever you want to say that I read at the beginning, it's number 35. So again, you could be 35 years of age or 35 when you meet them or have met them. Not that it has to be that way, but it could very well be. The more important thing, though, that I saw is that over here, with the energy this person has toward the connection, is 53. And you have 35, 35, 5, 3. So that's telling me that there's a reflective energy here. And the 3 on either side is representative of the Empress, the birth of something new, something different. It's energy of fruition, of development, of richness, like richness of spirit, richness of character, that feminine energy that we talked about here of patience and waiting. Not waiting, like go do your thing, not like sit around waiting for this person, but like being comfortable in the room by yourself because you know that that room has so much potential. It is, again, the 3s on either side tells me that both of you are in a position where you are ready to receive. And then the 5 comes in at the Hierophant energy, which is very much that energy of tradition, of unification, of almost like spirituality, where I feel like when the two of you come together, not only do you reflect one another, but there is a mutual desire for a more traditional relationship, maybe taking it real slow, maybe, letting those emotions percolate before you really let that person in. And ultimately, maybe that connection will lead to a long-term relationship like marriage, or some kind of, other sort of partnership that is long-standing. So again, I think this is a beautiful energy between the two of you, although again has not happened as yet. And that takes me to, and I'm going to jump ahead and I'm going to Tarantino this thing, come back around. Number 22 here on the Pluto card, when you've got, I'm seeing like 2-2, right? Which is High Priestess energy. And the High Priestess is things that are hidden. Again, it's an intuitive sense. It is a female persona on that card. Not to say you have to be or they are, but it, and I'm seeing it maybe in some cases a non traditionally hetero connection, although maybe that's what's desired. Take what resonates, leave the rest. But in this case, what I'm seeing is this energy of on each side there's something hidden, but also something intuitive, something that I feel like you sense in your knowing, in your emotions, that maybe that person is out there and you're almost again waiting for them, but you're getting frustrated. And I think that's why you're here talking or listening to me today, is there's a level of frustration with you. And that comes back to this Saturn card, and we're going to come up here in a second, but the Saturn card, which is that, um, what is your energy toward the relationship? And Saturn, of course, like I said earlier, just came out of retrograde, at least as I'm recording this, although this is a timeless reading. What I'm seeing is this person A is, in that 2 steps forward, 1 step back. Like it's been a very slow progression. And perhaps during the retrograde, you felt stalled out, like nothing was happening, nothing was changing. It was very frustrating. But then you just start to see things open up as the retrograde fades away, as that energy fades away. Things are gradually starting to move forward. And perhaps that's when you meet this person as time goes by. Incidentally, I just mentioned, and I didn't think about this during my pre-reading, or pre-reading analysis, but I just talked about this being a non-conventional relationship, perhaps a same-sex couple or some, two folks who are in different places along the spectrum of sexuality. But this takes me to the rainbow snake. That further reinforces that. I'm also seeing in this magical power card, which is the dragonfly. This is perhaps somebody who has taken some time to transform and come into their own. Perhaps it could be somebody who, um, you know, grew up and then entered sort of a metamorphosis as they were growing up and realized and emerged into the beautiful dragonfly that was the hidden potential that was there. So again, not to say that that's who you are. You could be anywhere along the spectrum, even if it's just plain old vanilla heterosexual. But I'm just seeing that there is an aspect there that could resonate with those who are in the LGBTQIA plus community. Anywho, so how person A is seeing person B. The rainbow snake is, an energy of creation and destruction. This person is coming in. I think you're seeing, or if you're A, you're seeing this person as someone who is both creating something new and beautiful in your life, but also in the course of doing so, destroying other things. So by its very nature, when you are creating in this empty room and things are coming into the empty room, yes, there's a creation, but there's also the destruction of the emptiness. So it's a loop-de-loop of, to destroy leads to creation, leads to destruction, leads to creation. And it's that energy that's here where you see, somebody coming into your life, like on the one hand you want it, and you see that as being something that is going to fill this empty room, that you are sitting in and experiencing, that limitless potential, but also the limitless potential, right? You could have been somebody, or person A could have been somebody in the past that wasn't ready to, give up their singledom, that is worried perhaps that a conventional relationship might impinge on who they are in their career, might impinge on, the plans that this person has for progressing along that career. Maybe, somebody comes into this empty room and now my possibilities are limited. Maybe now it's like, by accepting one and having one come in, you're excluding all others. And I feel like there's been an energy here where, although in a sense person A is welcoming this creative energy of this person B coming in, they're also a little bit nervous about how is this going to look in my day to day. Am I going to be now beholden to somebody else where I've got to account for my everything and I got to share the kitchen and I got to hand over the remote control every now and again, and I don't know how I feel about that. So it's weird, this interesting sort of polarity where on the one hand, I feel person A really wants person B to come in, but there's also like but do I really? That there's a little bit of like trepidation there where you're not really sure, is this really truly what I want? Or maybe like in my head what I want. And then you also, person A, if you're person A, see Kieran, right? Kieran is this um, energy of like larger effects in your life. And that ties back in here. It's almost like the pebble going into the pond where you have the ripple effect, right? It's like one thing goes in, but it like has this ongoing effect everywhere. Not only number one, do we have like a water sort of tie-in, but also it goes back to what I was just saying about, it's one thing to have this person come in, this beautiful snake, come into your energy. But this person, you know, at some level, person A, that this person is going to rock your world. And this one seemingly insignificant, maybe encounter is going to change things. And the question is, person A, are you willing to change? I feel like you've already changed so much in your life, but are you willing to change in terms of willing to accept this new energy in your field? And, of course, with Pluto being death and that death card number 13 representing an energy of change, right? Also 13 is 3 and 1 is 4, which is the emperor energy. We talked a lot about that empress energy. This is the emperor coming in. It's the balancing of the two. I feel like there's been a change. Like if you're somebody over here, you've changed from one to the other in a sense, or balanced those out. And now the universe is saying, okay, if you want this person A, there's going to have to be a rebalancing here. Where as you come into your empress, as you come into that receptive energy, here comes an energy of death, of like a change to, maybe now you really need to consider that emperor aspect of you. Maybe you've been all about love, love, love until it actually happens. And then it's like, oh, but what about my career? What about my family? What about my friends? What about my freedom? And other F words as well. Um, you know, I see you, person A, as somebody who, interestingly enough, like you're at odds with yourself. Um, but I think at some level, that change is a beautiful thing. I also want to point out that as I looked at these, Saturn rules Capricorn. It also rules the 10th house. We'll circle back to that. Circle back. Anyway, but, Saturn is earth energy, Capricorn energy. When I look at this ocean, that's very water energy. We've got magical power with this dragonfly being very air energy. And we have this Kirin here with the fire energy of sorts. And by contrast, we have all the colors, none of the colors, but all the colors also. So you have these, anyway, beautiful, complete situation. And when I see all these elements together in one place, I view you, person A, as the magician, somebody who can manifest great and wonderful things. And I feel like, in a weird sense, like you have the power, and not like He-Man, although it could be that way, I suppose, or She-Ra, or some combination thereof. But, you're manifesting it, but like, be careful what you wish for, almost. What are you going to do when you actually get it, when that person comes in? How are you going to balance the sea and the sky? Where is the line going to be between, you and this person? Where does that shore meld together with the wave? And I think that might be a challenge for person A, is embracing that change that person B brings in a positive way. I do think it's coming in, but maybe there's like an ideal right now of like, oh, this is going to be so great and beautiful. But when the rubber hits the road, when the changes happen, there's going to be a sense of like, oh gosh, but what now? Don't worry though, I see this death card, this energy between the two of you saying both of you are experiencing this change. And I believe that as we'll go through things, there's going to be an energy, and I predict we'll see this as we go through the tarot cards here in a little bit, that there will be an energy of death, of justice, of temperance, of Six of Pentacles, Six of Cups. This energy very much, Two of Pentacles, bringing things into balance here, tough choices, maybe Two of Swords. I think we're gonna see that kind of energy, a rebalancing of sorts on both sides here. I mean, again, as I look through things, I'm looking at like a very harsh lines here with the rectangle here, but I'm also seeing like some softness here encapsulated by more harsh lines. But even these harsh lines are not even, are not symmetrical. So it's almost like this person's going to bring a little chaos to your, person A's like tightly wound up space, but it's a welcome chaos, sort of, maybe, kind of, you're not sure. So anyway, talking about person B, and you could be either, again, A or B, or some combination thereof. Maybe you see yourself on both sides, which wouldn't surprise me, given this, given the 5335, or excuse me, 3535. No, hold on, 3553 words. Anyway, given this mirroring energy is where I was going. Everybody, calm down. And also this energy of, there's some mirroring here in this card. There's just not, facing this way, facing that way. I don't, I would not be surprised, is what I'm saying, is if you saw yourself on both sides here. Because I think maybe there's like a vision of you, a view of you where you're not sure whether, maybe some days you're the emperor, some days you're the empress. You're kind of in a balancing mode where you're not one thing or another. You're kind of on the path, you're on the spectrum. And maybe if you're not on the spectrum sexually, from a gender perspective sort of thing, you might be sort of in the spectrum of like, am I this way? Am I this way? And kind of working towards a center point or a comfortable point for you. Anywho, person B. Okay, so we have the one here, which, is, it's an energy of wholeness. It's an energy of reunification. What we talked about on one side, we had the dichotomy in a very kind of twisted, ironic way. Opposite the dichotomy, you have the oneness, right? The separateness of the two, but the oneness of the one. So I'm almost seeing like zeros and ones because we were talking about the computer science aspect. This person is seeing how these two energies within both of you can be united. This person, I think, is more of one mind, of one energy, and more, I think, further along the path of consolidating these two aspects of him or herself or themselves. Whereas in this side, there's still, I think, a lot more balancing that needs to be done. Again, this is more temperance energy. This person B views, I believe, person A as being very airy, very thought driven, whereas this is more fiery. This person in A views B as more impetuous, more passionate, more just going and doing. There's this energy here of the air, which is thought driven, which is an energy of really, this person is seeing person A as being really stuck in their head, really trying to figure this thing out, and trying to almost control and drive the thing forward with this Saturn energy. Um, this Tengu is about discipline and learning, and this Garuda energy is justice and defense of the defenseless. So I think that B is seeing A in a very positive light, but also as somebody who is very fixated on doing the right thing, on being very disciplined in how they approach life, not just jumping in. Almost like I'm seeing like this is the pebble jumping into the water or falling into the water, because pebbles don't jump. They're, not cognizant creatures. Hopefully you know that. But anyway, it's almost like the pebble and the offshoots that we're talking about, right? The waves, created by the dropping of the pebble in the pond. This person is, I think, a little more willing to accept the things in life that are not certain, the insecurity of the situation, the fact that there is almost security in going with the flow. Whereas I think they're viewing this other person over here as being much more needing of stability, much more of wanting to have figured things out, um, and learned about it and really just focus before making that decision. So that might be a point of contention when the two of you actually meet, is, are we going to like think this thing through, and does it make sense, versus like, let's kind of spin the wheel, even though this is the 10th house and it's meant to be like the actual whatever. So it's almost like a spinning the wheel energy. Like, let's just like throw the dice and see what happens here. The 10th house is an energy of how your career and your notoriety might go. And interestingly, as I kind of alluded to earlier, Saturn rules the 10th house. So there's an almost egoic energy over here of wanting to dominate the situation, of wanting to determine how things go here in the love relationship. This person might be, also focused on the career and so forth, but you are, if you're person A, are looking to, how do I control this by learning about it? Which again might also be why you're here listening to me, is you are wanting to understand the situation better, because if you can understand it, then you can control it a little bit more, which of course is not true. And listen, I'm guilty of that as well, right? Because I'm air energy myself. I'm very much somebody who needs to know, right? Give me the information, need to know. Even though the wind goes as it goes, and you don't even understand the wind and how it gets there. it's still this energy of like, okay, but if I know it, I can control it. And if I control it, I feel safer. I don't feel like I'm caught up in the moment. And so it seems to me that again, because this death is very much a change energy, the two of you have to kind of work together and get almost like a synchronicity going, a rhythm going, like a musical, a harmony going to balance each other out and come up on top of this thing. Not that there's an on top, and that's the beauty of it. There's not an on top to get to. Person A, there's not a goal that you're trying to reach. There is no end. The limit does not exist, right? When sound waves, for example, go out into the universe, since we're on a universal theme here, there is not an end to it. Energy can neither be created nor destroyed. So when sound waves are put out in the universe, they go on and on and on. And same with light. It takes time for them to get various places, but it goes on, and there is no end. So I think a lot of times person A just is changing, is growing, is moving, but maybe the driving force for that is control and of getting there, getting to the end, getting to the final result. Over here, I think there's a lot more energy of the journey is the joy. Using this creativity and experiencing things is the joy. So this is very much like a primarily emperor energy, a masculine energy, like as it is now, with that wanting to control. But perhaps you are in an empty room and you need to let that go if you're person A, and embrace the openness and the I don't chase, I attract. I don't need to figure it out. I can just go with what the universe provides and know that everything's going to be okay. The energy this person B has toward the relationship with A is this fantastic card, the Riddle. Now, so many things going on with this card here. Number one, it's number 53, as we talked about. This almost like Celtic looking knot here of snakery. It talks about not only infinity, but talks about, as I see it, and this is going to be silly, but the nothing reminded me of the never ending story, right? This empty room, the nothingness, right? And this is also the symbol, or very similar to the symbol that is present on Atreyu's necklace in the nothing, in the never ending story, which also goes back to that. What did I just talk about? The story doesn't end, it keeps going. If you're person A and you're looking for an ending, there is no ending. This just goes on and on and on. And that's present here, by the way, as well, with respect to these circles here and here. Circles don't have a beginning or an end. Neither does this thing. And that takes me to what this made me think of was the Gordian knot, right? And that is in Greek mythology a knot that basically, almost like the more you tried to untie it, the worse it got. And it was only Alexander the Great who was able to just slice through it by using creative thinking, creativity, right? By thinking about things in a way that other people haven't. And while I think this person A is a little more regimented, again, we talked about this regimentation here with these shapes, and this person is a little more creative, that creativity allows this person to, in essence, like undo the knot, undo the thing that's preventing this connection here and allowing it to come together. And it's only through that creativity, it's only by letting go that we can hold. It's like when you grip dirt too tightly, it can slip through your fingers, or sand can slip through your fingers. But if you hold it like this with a little bit more looseness, it will stay put. It's only by letting go that we can receive, which is taking us back here, which is why I'm saying there's all this mirroring going on, because here, person A, they have to let go to receive. They have to accept the empty room to receive the things that will fill it. And here, this person has to let go of expectations of this person, that this person will relax or will calm down or will, release the need for control in order to think creatively and cut through it and reach this relationship. So I think this person B, even though they are more laid back on the whole and not the entity or person seeking control here, they also are letting go of control and letting that creativity spark in order to have this relationship here. I think they recognize that like that there's going to be a little bit of work involved, like lessons learned over here, that letting go is the way. And I think this person B is going to have to accept that this person is not going to look at the world the way they do. They're not going to flow and let it go the way this person does. This person may want more structure. This person wants things to be a little looser. Let things like just go as they go. And that can be challenging on both sides. I mean, if you're this person, you're like, why are you asking me? Am I ready for a commitment? Why are you asking me if I want to do things a certain way, or have this kind of change, or embrace this kind of change? And I think over here, this person's saying the same thing. Like, why can't you just commit to me? Why can't we just have a relationship that is defined? How am I supposed to know that this empty room is filled if you're just out here, kind of wandering around and snaking around? Um, so I think there's possibly some misunderstandings between the two of you when you meet and come together. I don't think it's a bad thing, but I think it's more of a negotiation where you're the same thing, just appearing differently, like two sides of the coin. You're both the coin. It's just that if you look at it one way, one side is heads, and if you look at the other, it's tails. But you're both the coin, right? So I don't think there's any differentiation between you. I think you're very much the same, just from a different perspective. Also, I'd like to point out that the creativity here is represented by this spider over here, and that very much ties into like this web, what a tangled web we weave kind of thing. Also, by the way, I mentioned Alexander the Great. It could be, by the way, that name Alexander or Alex or some Xander or whatever deviation from that you have. Alexis, Alexa. I just set off your things. You're welcome. Um, it could be some derivation of that means something significant to you. It could also be that the continent of Asia for some reason means something. Maybe you're traveling there, you've been there recently, the person you're interested in is of Asian heritage. Could be any number of things, but um, these are just things that I picked up. And by the way, again, we talked about this being the riddle. Even though it is the riddle, you're trying to know, both of you are trying to know the unknowable in this relationship. And but in the interesting way, the truth that you're seeking is already in you. The creative energy, the spark, is already there. It's just a matter of uncovering it. And we see this very much in the energy between you two, which is this death card. I mean, look at the mirroring here. All right. I mean, even the flowers are mirroring each other, which is just so symbolic here of what we have going on. The only thing that, it's only this part here that's not mirrored. And I'm seeing the moon, and I'm seeing this skull, right? Moon and skull, which to me says change or die. We also have the word death up here, but like change or if you don't change, you will not experience growth, right? It's if you're not moving, if you're not changing, you're essentially fading away. So I think even though this is going to be challenging in some ways for each of you in your own way, it is going to be a beautiful relationship. And again, we have this snakes here, which ties back into this snake, which ties back into this snake energy, just reaffirming that this is indeed the relationship that is at issue. These are the cards you seek if you see yourself in either of these energies or both of them. It may be uncomfortable, it may be unknowable right now, but unknowable doesn't mean bad, right? It's going back to that sort of, not poem, but statement or whatever that I read at the beginning. Just because something appears one way now, just because that wave from the puddle, the pond in the puddle is different, is unusual, is not what you're expecting, that doesn't mean that it's bad. It's part of the whole. It's part of the experience. It is part of the same thing. It's like the two of you are both waves in your own way, which, you're different waves, but you're part of the same whole. You're made of the same things. And I think it's beautiful. So I look forward to hearing more about when you meet this person. If I haven't said it already, by the way, I am TINLA, and this is not legal advice. And if this resonates with you, I would love to hear how. Please do like, share, comment. Let me know what's resonating, how this maybe speaks to you. I would love, love, love to hear it / read it. And I am, by the way, pile 3, like really pulling for you here. I know it's going to be a little bit of a challenge, but without challenge, we don't change. So that being said, let me go over to our tarot, which again, you all picked the Cosmic Wisdom Tarot, which it goes along with our theme. I want to also point out that I just cut the deck. Y'all saw me, okay? Right there in the cut, we have the Emperor energy. Aries energy, yes, but more to the point where we were talking about the balancing of the Emperor and the Empress, excuse me. That energy of, trying to make things happen versus allowing things to happen. And I do think, by the way, that it's very frustrating for you if you're pile A, if you're A and pile 3, your person A, because it can be very challenging to be the one waiting, or feeling like you're waiting, or feeling like your lesson is to learn patience. What is that phrase? Like, patience is a virtue, but I don't know. I'm personally learning that myself, right? So I get you. We have bottom of the deck here, Ace of Cups energy, which is just stunning. Okay, a couple things on this particular card. Now, Ace of Cups is traditionally an energy of an overflowing of love, right? This watery energy, very Cancerian, as I was saying earlier. And somebody offering that cup. Because it's coming from this side, I'm almost seeing like person A offering it to person B. And maybe because also you want control. But I am seeing this frog. And a couple things come to mind with this frog in the cup. First of all, outside of what I was originally thinking, like, ew, why would you drink this water? There's a frog in it. But first of all, of course, frogs are amphibious. So they are creatures that survive both in the water and the air, which we were talking about, water and air, right? How you see each other and how, like, that water energy, the air energy. Actually, this person over here, person B, was seeing person A as being very airy, very thought oriented, but there was also that water energy here. So this is very much a combination. You are the combination here. That's why another reason I think you're offering it here. But I'm also thinking about that fable of, like, how do you boil a frog? Assuming that's something you want to do. How do you boil a frog? Well, you don't throw it into a boiling pot, right? Because then the frog would just jump out. You have to put the frog in the pot. You gradually raise the temperature, and then before they know it, they are boiling. But it's too late for them to get out. And I'm wondering, if you're person A, are you concerned that that's what's going to happen here? You start letting person B in a little at a time, and before you know it, you're picking out China designs at for the wedding registry, and meanwhile your time with your friends, your time advancing your career is gone, and you don't even know how that happened. So I think there's a little bit of fear there, even though you're offering your cup of love. Anywho, let's get, regardless of whether you're person A or B, let's get the person on your mind's energy toward you right now. Okay, one more, please. And I'm going to take a look at the card real quick, like before I flip it, like when I flip it, because there can be, I think I took out the scandalous card that's in here, but YouTube and the overlords are a little bit weird about things. So let's see if there's any tatas or bums on this. Okay, can we get one more card, please, Spirit, on how, there we go. All right, so this card here is, oh my gosh, it's Judgment. Look at that, number 20. And King of Wands. So the person, the question meant to be, I don't know why I was thinking about that. I was talking about general energy toward you, but that's not what I meant to say. What I meant to say is, how will you know who this person is? How will my viewer know who this person is? Now, this is Sagittarian energy. This is fire energy, which, Sagittarius is also fire. This is Leo specifically. But it's an energy of resurrecting, of change, of going from death to life again. In a sense, I feel like you are going to feel like this person is bringing you to life. Whether you're person A being challenged by person B's throwing of the pebble into your situation, or you are person B where this person over here is telling you a bit more about stability that you haven't had. If you're person B, maybe you've been a little more unstructured, and person A is bringing that structure to you. I need to point out King of Wands. See that there? We have, look, Remember this? Remember this? Our little friend Kieran? King of Wands, right there. See it? See it? It's confirmation for me that this is indeed and in fact for you. This person is bringing this to you on either side. It's confirmation to me that this is very much how you'll know. Like we already talked about that. I was predicting it. The spirit was giving me the information to predict it, and this is confirmation. This person's going to be very passionate toward you, but also in a weird way, like reserved. Like this person's sitting. This person's just kind of standing, not moving. I think they're almost waiting, even though the King of Wands is a doer. Wands are action energy. There is like a also waiting for this to happen. Bottom of the deck, and by the way, also, let me point out some symbols of the Asian culture here, which takes me back to what I was just talking about with Alexander the Great, etc. All right, bottom of the deck. Oh, look, the Hierophant. I feel like I talked about the Hierophant too. With that 5-3 energy, we're talking about the 3-5. This is that energy of commitment, the energy of tradition, of, this person over here wanting more structure. And maybe this person's not okay with that. So this is confirmation to me again that this is the interpretation that Spirit has dictated. I'm not dictated because I don't mean to say it that way. Sorry, Spirit. But like, this is consistent. It is confirmation. It is telling me that you, the viewer, have someone coming in who is going to challenge you. In fact, it may be one of those like rom-com situations on either side where maybe you start off as enemies and then you grow into lovers. Like you're both a little frustrated with each other. Like, he's doing the most and she feels like she's doing the least. And yet they come together and it's magic. Next on Hallmark, right? Like it's that kind of thing. All right. All right. What is the person's intention toward the other person? What is intended when this person comes in? What is the intention? Okay. Oh, look, we got 2 right there. All right. We have oh my God, I was going to say that, the Page of Pentacles. First of all, the Page of Pentacles stalks me. Second of all right, I actually wrote it down in my notebook here, and I could show you, although I probably couldn't read my own writing, so good luck to you. But right there, I wrote Tengu, okay? Page of Pentacles. See that? Page of Pentacles, right there. All right. Right here. Their energy toward you is they want to help you learn. They want to see you grow. Their intention is to have you grow. And oh my God, it's the Magician. I can't even make it up. Okay. What did I just say about the energies over here, right? I said you have all the energies, person A, to manifest, right? We talked about how you have the earth, the air, the water, and the fire. And so you could do all the things. It's magician energy, right? Didn't I just talk about that? This is so much confirmation that this is the energy here. This person's coming in on either side and they are going to rock your world in the best possible way. And you're bringing it in, you're calling it in, you're learning about this by being here, which, by the way, thank you so much for being here. I hope this is like astonishing you the way it is for me, because this is like really something. Bottom of the deck energy, the Devil. Okay. The Devil. Okay. Can I just, let me tell you, the Devil, number 15, is Capricorn energy, people. Capricorn, Saturn, ruling the 10th house, drawing it all together. Normally we're talking about like a obsession or temptation. I don't think that's what it means here. I think it's further confirmation that this is your reading. If, talking about the Capricorn energy, I can't even make it up. Anyway, the intention toward each other is like one of you is manifesting, one of you is wanting to teach and sow the seeds here of growth. Just incredible, positive energy. It's going to be a challenge, but at the end of the day, it's a good thing. All right, let's find out what the person that is coming in for my viewer, what their next action is going to be, if any. I have to ask that because although this is not legal advice, which it isn't, I think it's presumptuous to say, what is their action going to be when who knows if they're even going to take an action, right? I don't want to assume that. All right, let's talk about what is the next action towards my viewer, or I'm hearing like what the viewer is going to take. So let me see here. Hold on one second. if you're person A and you're the control freak, sorry, I don't mean to say that in a bad way, because look, I've been told that I'm a type A personality myself, okay? You might be like, I can't sit around here and wait in the empty room. I got to do something, right? Not saying you should, but that could be the situation. I mean, I was seeing IT. We were talking about IT stuff before, and how like maybe if you're person A and you're tired of sitting in that empty room, maybe you go on a dating site. Maybe that's what that's indicating, is you're going to meet this person through like a dating website. I don't know for sure, but this just came to me. All right, what do we have? We have Two of Wands, and okay, all right, and this is the next action. Remember, and we have Justice. Okay, I also talked about justice when I talked about, oh gosh, what was it? And I can show you my writing here. Hold on a second. Let's look at my stupid, crazy ass handwriting again. All right, we have, I know I wrote this down. One second. Hold on one second. There it is, with the Garuda energy, right? Justice. Justice. This person is seeing you for who you are. They want to help balance you out. They want equality. Their action, we're talking about, excuse me, yes, the next action is, they're setting down this other wand. They're turning away other people for you and for the possibility of this unknowable future, right? Again, we have, look, put that down. We have this crystal ball of sorts right here. This person is trying to see the future. Maybe you're trying to see the future too. If you're person A, you're trying to see it so you can understand it and control it better. This person over here could, if you're person B, you're looking at, this future, like, I don't know, like, what do I do? Interestingly, okay, hold on. I never noticed it before. Okay, in the crystal ball here, and I have to really get close so you can see it. Okay. In the crystal ball, there's the traditional Rider White um, picture um, of the Two of Wands, and this says to me that this person is, and by the way, it's like a globe. It's sitting in a globe. It's not actually a crystal ball. It's sitting in a globe. So maybe it could be the world, right? There's things coming to an end, cycles coming to an end. This person is tired of the cycle of, holding on to this, and this person over here, like, they're ready to make a choice. But they also kind of want to see where it's going. But they're looking at this in, like, it's almost like looking back at tradition, looking back, as we talked about, somebody wants that tradition with you. And I think they're going to be willing to grasp onto you and forsake all others, if you will, if and balance things out. They're going to take action with you and balance things out. And in a very like traditional spiritual way. I think the impact maybe this person is going to have on you is not going to be expected or predictable or traditional, which is going to be, I think, a challenge for person A, because, in a sense, you want that tradition, right? That Hierophant business. All right. King of Swords on the bottom. Now, King of Swords is, all right, wow. King of Swords, first of all, air energy. I mean, I haven't been going through the signs here, but Justice is air energy, Wands is fire. We had air and fire, how they're seeing person A. Anywho, King of Swords is a person who is very, very, very stuck in their logical mindset. They're ruling with almost like an iron fist of, I'm not going to, tolerate anything that is anything less than the truth. But also, look at the look in this person's eye right here. Like, the look of it is almost like, I'm so tired of holding this sword. I'm so done with it. Butterflies on the throne, ready to change. Very dragonfly energy. They're ready for that change. You're ready for that change if you're person A. And this right here looks to me like an African gray parrot. And, oh my God, I'm sorry, but one of the most famous, and you can look it up, fact check me, okay? One of the most famous African gray parrots was named Alex. And Alex was able to talk and seemed to be sentient and intelligent in a way that a lot of other creatures are not, and was indicative of the intelligence of these African race specifically. But we talked about Alexander the Great, and we have Alex here. So somebody here, that's a very important name. I don't know who, but you will know, and please let me know in the comments. I would love to see it because it would be a delight. And we have almost the partner of this African gray up here looking down like, hey, um, you know, let's talk about it. Like we're trying to talk to you here, bro. Put down your sword. Stop with all the logic. It's going to be okay. We can take wing. We can be free. These trees here, by the way, because it's called an African gray because it's in Africa. Well done, everybody. But also right here, we have this kind of tree right there, which I've only seen in like documentaries regarding Madagascar. So maybe that movie is significant to you, or you like lemurs for some reason, or maybe you're from Madagascar, or want to go to Madagascar. I don't know. Just sort of an aside. Anyway. Okay, wow, this is fascinating. So let's find out what the ideal outcome is for the person coming to you. Now, again, you could be person A or person B, or some combination thereof, but the person that you're going to meet, possibly through a dating site, possibly not, let's find out what the energy is for that person. I'm being told to look here. The ideal outcome, King of Cups. King of Cups. Amazing. First of all, snakeskin shoes, boss. Boss, how fashionable can you be? We had all those snakes, snake, or dragon that is very sneckish. All the snake energy here before. We have like flying fish and joy. We have just, you know, somebody ready in the water here. See how this is like, we were talking about the pebble in the water in the pond. This is somebody who's like making a splash. That is the ideal outcome in the person on your mind's mind. All right, let's get some more on what is the ideal outcome of the person coming in to rock the world of my viewer. What is the ideal outcome? Rock the world, right? Wouldn't it be something if we got the world? Because we also had that globe, remember, in the Two of Wands. That'd be a hell of a thing. All right. One more, please. There we go. All right. We have the Nine of Cups. Beautiful. Okay, couple of things there. And we have the High Priestess. Oh my God, y'all. And the Fool. All right, so much to talk about here. All right, first of all, Nine of Cups is an energy of wish fulfillment. Maybe you're wishing for some awesome tigery, one like shouldered outfit. I don't know. Maybe you're fabulous that way. But more importantly, there's this energy of wish fulfillment. There's also these what look like cherry blossoms, and some sort of almost like Japanese architecture here. So going back to my reference to Asian culture. Also, this person, you know, their outcome that they're desiring is that happy ending, and not in a gross way, people, calm down. But if I recall correctly, cherry blossoms grow for a very limited period of time. And so this person may want to move faster than you are comfortable with. All right. Again, it may rock your world substantially, very tower, right? And the High Priestess, you know, things are hidden. There's a mystery, an air of mystery to you. The future is unknown, right? And we talked about being uncomfortable with the unknown. I also want to point out, again, in my crazy handwriting, I don't know why I'm like having to prove myself to you, maybe because you're so logical if you're person A, but I wrote it right here. Number 22, the High Priestess, the twos. Remember that was in the death card, right? That Pluto energy. Look at that. Number 22. Remember we talked about that, taking you back to number 22, right? I said 2 twos on both sides, which I said was High Priestess energy. The future is unknown and unknowable, but that doesn't make it bad. It makes it beautiful. And I'm also seeing, look, my moon and my stars. How very Game of Thrones. And Daenerys and he has the Khaleesi, as well as oh my gosh, I can't think of his name. Put it in the comments. I can't think of it right now. Oh my gosh, Khal Drogo. Woo! All right, Khal Drogo. Not that I think that's a name of you or your person, but it could be. I think Amelia is her real name, and of course Jason Momoa, so maybe Jason's a name that's important. Anyway, the Fool, though, the outcome, the desired outcome is take a chance. Take a chance, journey out, take the journey, take the leap. I think it's just, it's self-explanatory. Two of Swords, I think I talked about that. Maybe I'm thinking the last pile, but I feel like I talked about Two of Wands, Two of Swords, making that choice, that decision, that logical Swords, okay? You're like really overthinking this thing. You're overthinking it to death, but the outcome that is desired is taking that chance. Before we move on, I want to talk about, in all the cards, we have Judgment, Magician, Justice, High Priestess, Fool. These are all what we call major arcana. This is a substantial and significant change for you, viewer. Strap in, man. Like I said at the beginning, strap in, because it's going to be an emotional one. All right? Now let's find out what the status of things is likely to be in the next 4 weeks. I am recording this on November 30th. So the next 4 weeks is approximately the new year. So maybe you'll be making out like disgusting individuals in a very sassy way by the time the new year rolls around. Maybe not. Let's find out what the next 4 weeks are likely to hold for you with respect to this connection. Okay. All right. Oh, devil's back. Devil's back. All right. This person's going to tempt you. This person's coming in full on. Saturn is out of retrograde. Let's go. Let's go. That's how I'm seeing it. Even though Capricorn in that Pentacles sort of earthy energy is very slow moving and deliberate and that sort of thing. Anywho, not the point. What is the likely status in the next 4 weeks? Spirit, please. What is the likely status in the next 4 weeks? Three of Wands, expansive, seeing the future, actually getting some clarity. All right. What's coming ashore? Is it change? Is it a pebble? Is it more water energy? Who can say? Five of Wands. Is this somebody that you're willing to fight for? Are they willing to fight for you? What do we have going on here? I think there's going to be a struggle. I think there's an internal struggle here, a deep internal struggle. I think, again, you're torn between that empty room and the promise of the future, and vice versa. This person's a little bit, I think, going to agitate you. The Sun. Oh, but it's going to be a happiness. Happy ending. Sorry, I hate to say it, but I did talk about it here. I did. And this is confirmation. Look at these two folks on a horse. Just disgusting, like very, again, Hallmark movie, just riding through the fields and the sun is overhead. Very Princess Bride. Let's get one more on the status of things in the next 4 weeks from my viewer's perspective. I think you're going to be happy. I think you take that chance. You're going to fight through it. I think you're going to be happy. I do. Not that you're not happy now. I'm sure you're just delightful individuals. But anywho, 10 of Wands. You're going to put down that burden. You're going to let it go. Let it go. Okay? There's so many wands here. Very, very fiery, passionate energy. You're going to put it down, though. You're going to let it rest. Like, let it rest. Okay? And Six of Pentacles. What a beautiful card to end this part on. Six of Pentacles is that even energy, that equal give and take. You are both, bluebird of happiness up in here. Look at that. You're both just giving. And then look. There's even like a scale, like the scales of justice kind of circling back over here. And it's coming around. It is, wearing your heart on your sleeve. It's being open. It's supporting each other. I think this is a connection that is definitely written in the stars, definitely going to be gorgeous if you let it be. If you let it be gorgeous. Now, let's get some channeled love messages. I really appreciate you staying here and hanging out with me. I know these are all long readings. All three of them have been pretty much the same length, which is interesting because I wasn't trying to do that. But anywho. All right. Let's find out, Spirit. What if my viewer were going to be honest, and I'm going to say in the future, we're going to be honest about how they really, really feel when this person comes in. We're going to ask that way. When this person comes into their lives, what would they want to say if they were honest? Not to say you're going to be lying, but like if they lay themselves out there, if they just let it all hang out and let go of some of that control, what would they say when this person comes in? Please do like, comment, share, subscribe, and let me know if this speaks to you, because that means a lot. I want to make it up to you. I am ascending. We're going to talk about this in a second. Let's keep going. What else would my viewer have to say? I'm working hard on myself. Not surprising. Type A, person A. Okay. And is it over? So in this Hallmarky movie sort of way, okay. All right, let's work our way backwards. Is it over? I don't think this is talking about the relationship. I think it's a question more of like that empty room. Is it over? Are the things that I've like counted on for the stability and control in my life, are they over? And this is actually in a weird way an energy of like releasing, like letting go into the unknown future. You are ascending. You are working hard on yourself. You're trying to get more in touch with your emotion and be more spiritual, perhaps, but or at least let go of control. So you are ascending. You're telling this person like, listen, I'm working hard on myself. Is this over? Like, are we going to be just doing something serious? Are we going to be moving in a serious direction? I don't know how ready I am for that, but I at least need to know what's going on. And you want to make it up to them. I mean, maybe this again in that Hallmarky movie sort of way is, two people that are at each other's throats turn into lovers. I think it may be something where you first meet them and, they just agitate you. I think the agitation is good. I think shaking it up is good. People who are just like you don't change you very often. So I think, maybe you come off really cheeky and the person may be a little put off by you and you want to make it up to them. Let's see, what would the person, when you meet them, what would they say to the viewer? Oh, look, they still care about you. Like, look, you want to make it up to them, but don't worry, they still care about you. Oh, that just went on the floor because why not? Is there a second chance? This is what it says. So they're more concerned about, okay, that's cool. I still care about you. So can we do this? Or are we not going to do it? What are we doing? I think this person cares very deeply, or will care very deeply, and will be more open with you about it, perhaps than other people in your life, which may make you feel more safe. I can't hold back any longer. I connect with you at night. This person may have dreamt about you. Very watery energy of like just being in touch with the intuition, being in touch with the hopes and dreams that they have for this relationship to move forward. And they don't want to restrain themselves. They want to just full speed ahead into the wild unknown, which is a different creator. That's Kim Kranz, but neither here nor there. All right, let's get one more. I'm being called to say one more that you might say to each other. What I'm feeling like, I haven't done this in the other piles, so you're special. You're different. I'm different. Like, not like other girls, but like not like that at all. So like not like other girls or other guys or whatever. Okay. I hope you're doing well. So I'm seeing that as right now, before you guys are really getting into anything romantically, there is a positivity. Like you are like kind of doing this thing more so from person A to person B than vice versa. But there's still an energy of like, I don't hate you. You're not like annoying me. I'm annoyed by the concept of you. But I hope you're doing well. I hope everything's all right. Also, let me point out that as because this cut it off here, almost very rainbowy in the sky, which takes me back to our, was it you who got you? Yeah, you had this. You did. Look, our rainbow snack, taking it back to the beginning. The beginning is the end is the beginning. The rainbow snack, the rainbow here. Just more confirmation that what goes around comes around in this relationship. What starts off one way may turn the corner and change into something beautiful that was unexpected, and that's okay that it's unexpected. And change is all right. Change is welcome. Change is that death card. I really appreciate you joining me. Is what I was going to say. Like, subscribe, share. Thank you so much, and have a great day.